Chapter 1. The day started like any other. The incessant beep of the alarm clock pulled Joy from a deep slumber, but she'd only been asleep for a couple of hours. The stress of the previous day's meeting still hung heavily over her like a fog. She groaned and rubbed her eyes, glancing at the time. It was already 7:30 a.m. Crap, she muttered, rolling out of bed. She had barely any time to get ready, but it was just another day in the life of a personal assistant. The daily grind was the same: meetings, schedules, deadlines, and Sebastian, the ever-demanding boss who seemed to have a bottomless well of tasks for her. But she had learned long ago to power through it. No complaints. No time to waste. Joy's small apartment, though cozy, wasn't much to look at. It had a tiny kitchen that barely fit the essentials and a cramped living room with mismatched furniture. Still, it was hers, and she'd worked hard to get it. She couldn't afford much, not on a PA's salary, but she made do. After quickly getting dressed, her thoughts shifted back to work. She grabbed a quick breakfast, a half-eaten bagel, and gulped down a cup of coffee that didn't even register on the wake-up scale. It was barely 8:15 a.m. when she left her apartment and made her way down the street. Ignoring the usual chaos of honking cars and crowded sidewalks, she got to the office a few minutes late, her heartbeat pounding in her chest. Sebastian didn't tolerate tardiness, not even a minute late. Still, the meeting was set for 9 a.m., and she was tasked with organizing it. She slid into her desk, quickly scanning the emails and preparing the agenda, but today felt different. The tension in the office was palpable. There was something in the air, something off. Her headache started building by mid-morning, a slow, relentless pressure behind her eyes. She rubbed her temples, trying to push it away. She had too much to do. By lunch, the headache had turned into a migraine. But there was no time to stop. The clock ticked on, and the emails piled up. Sebastian's usual sharp tone could be heard through the walls, barking orders, delegating tasks, never letting up. He didn't care about anyone's limits. Everyone in the office knew this, but that didn't change anything. Joy did her best to keep up, taking on every responsibility he threw her way. Despite the pain throbbing in her head, as the hours passed, the exhaustion deepened. Her vision blurred, her hands trembled slightly as she typed up documents, and yet, she continued to push herself. She couldn't afford to slack off, couldn't afford to let her guard down. Being a personal assistant was all about showing competence, about constantly proving she was the best at what she did. When the clock hit 8 p.m., the office was almost empty. Most of her colleagues had long since left, but Joy was still working, piecing together details for a proposal that Sebastian insisted needed to be perfect. She had only one thing left to do: finish the presentation and make sure the documents were delivered to his office. He'd been pacing around all day, barking instructions. She didn't mind, after all, it was her job. But the weariness that had gripped her all day began to settle in like a thick fog. Her hands shook as she sipped another cup of coffee, but it didn't help. It never did. It was around 10 p.m. when the dizziness first hit. She had just sat down to proofread the final draft when the world around her started to spin. She blinked, trying to clear her vision, but the spinning only worsened. Her head felt heavy, like someone had placed a massive weight on it. Maybe just 5 minutes of rest, she thought, closing her eyes for a moment. She leaned back in her chair, but that was the last thing she remembered. When Joy woke up, she wasn't in her office anymore. In fact, she wasn't even in the same building. Her head was no longer spinning, but she could still feel a faint ache in her skull. Slowly, she opened her eyes to find herself lying on a bed, her own bed, the one from her apartment, but it felt different. She sat up quickly, a sharp gasp escaping her lips as the events of the last few hours, or was it days, came crashing back. How did I get here? The apartment looked the same as before, but everything felt off. The place was too quiet, the kind of silence that only happens after something traumatic. She could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, but there was no other sound. Her pulse quickened as the events of her last day at work ran through her mind. The headache, the dizziness, the coffee, the unbearable exhaustion. Oh my God, did I die? It didn't make sense. Her heart began to race as she jumped out of bed, trying to shake the cobwebs from her mind. She stumbled to the bathroom and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her hair was mussed, and her skin had an almost unnatural glow, but other than that, she looked fine. Perfectly fine. In fact, she felt better than she had in weeks. But the confusion only grew as she glanced around the room, the realization hitting her like a ton of bricks. She was alive, but how? It took Joy a few hours of pacing the apartment and trying to calm her racing thoughts before she could gather herself enough to think clearly. She sat down on the couch, her mind a swirl of questions. She had been overworked. She had died from overworking herself. But now, she was here. Alive. As if nothing had happened then, as she was pondering all this, a voice in her head whispered something she hadn't considered before. What if it wasn't an accident? She froze. The sudden thought sent a chill down her spine. She remembered the whispers around the office, the way people had speculated that something strange had happened, that her death wasn't exactly an accident. It was too coincidental that no one had said it out loud, but Joy had heard the rumors. There was a reason why she had felt so uncomfortable the last few months at work. And there was one person who had always stood out, Emily. The actress. The one who always seemed to find a reason to be around Sebastian, the one who made Joy's stomach twist whenever she appeared at the office. Emily had a reputation, and not a good one. It was rumored that she was a master manipulator, charming her way into getting whatever she wanted, and then, Joy recalled how Emily had become strangely close to Sebastian just before her death. Did Emily know something she didn't? Could it be that Emily was the one who had orchestrated her death? It was a chilling thought, but it made too much sense. With a sharp breath, Joy knew what she had to do. She had been given a second chance. She wasn't going to waste it. Chapter 2. Joy couldn't quite believe what had happened. One moment, she was dead, completely and utterly gone, and the next, she was back in her apartment, breathing, living, and, most of all, wondering how the hell she could be alive again. The days of overworking had led to her death, there was no doubt about that. She'd been running on fumes for weeks, burning the candle at both ends. But this felt different. More like an inconvenient time loop rather than divine intervention. She stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror again, but this time, her gaze wasn't as full of confusion. It was determination. If she was given a second chance, she wasn't going to waste it. She was going to change things, starting with how she handled Sebastian and Emily, but the thought of Sebastian made her stomach do a weird, fluttery thing. She shook her head, trying to push the thought aside. Focus, Joy. You're here to prevent your death, not to fall in love with your boss. Again, that had been one of the other uncomfortable truths she had realized before her untimely demise. She had an unhealthy, unrequited crush on Sebastian. He was tall, dark-haired, sharp-witted, and all around intimidating. There was no mistaking the attraction she'd felt for him, even if she was the last person he noticed in that way. He was distant, aloof, practically married to his job. And to be honest, Joy hadn't really expected anything more. Her job as his PA was demanding enough, and she had thrown herself into it with all her energy, just trying to keep up. But now, she had time to make different choices. Time to navigate this strange opportunity with the wisdom she hadn't had before. Her eyes narrowed as she sat down at her desk. I'm not going to let this slip away. The next morning was bright and crisp, and Joy's phone buzzed incessantly with messages. One was from Sebastian, another from her best friend, and a third from Emily. She rolled her eyes at the last one. Emily's messages were always oddly cheerful, like she was pretending to be some sweet angel when everyone knew her reputation was anything but that. The first message from Sebastian was business as usual, reminding her of an upcoming meeting and asking if she'd prepared the documents. Of course I have, she thought. I'm always prepared. She couldn't help but feel a little smug. Now that she was living in a different timeline, she was going to do this the right way. No more overwork. No more constant exhaustion. She was going to be efficient, focused, and dare she say it, assertive. When she arrived at the office, the hustle and bustle of the place felt just as it always had, yet there was something in the air today that made everything feel oddly light. It was probably because she had made peace with the fact that she was back, that things could change if she played her cards right. Her first task of the day was sorting through emails. She had barely started when Emily appeared at her desk. The woman's stilettos clicked loudly against the floor, drawing attention as she made her approach. "Joy, darling." Emily's voice was saccharine sweet, but Joy didn't buy it. She could practically hear the undertone of "I'm better than you" in her voice. "Emily," Joy replied, trying not to sound as irritated as she felt. "What brings you by?" Emily didn't sit. She never did. "Just wanted to make sure you're doing well, darling. You know, Sebastian's been under a lot of stress lately," she added, practically purring the words. Joy resisted the urge to roll her eyes. "Oh, please. This act again. I've got it handled," Joy said coolly, turning back to her computer screen. She wasn't going to let Emily get under her skin this time. She'd learned that much from her previous life. Emily was all about getting what she wanted, and today, she was going to find out that things were going to be a lot harder for her than last time. Emily stepped closer, leaning over Joy's shoulder in a way that was so obviously calculated. "Oh, I'm sure you do, sweetie. But remember, Sebastian is, well, Sebastian. He likes his things done a certain way. And you wouldn't want to disappoint him, would you?" Joy held her breath. She's doing this again. Getting under my skin with every little word instead of rising to the bait, Joy smirked. "I think Sebastian and I have a great understanding of how things work around here. But thanks for your concern, Emily." The icy reply seemed to surprise Emily for a split second. She blinked, as if trying to figure out what had just happened. But the smile quickly returned, though it was strained. "Of course, darling. Let me know if you need anything." As Emily walked away, Joy couldn't help but feel a tiny victory inside. Well, that was a nice change. The rest of the day was a blur of meetings and paperwork, with the usual tension that Sebastian exuded hanging in the air. She had to admit Sebastian was a hard man to crack. But today, there was a subtle shift in her. She wasn't as nervous around him as she once was. Sure, he was still intimidating, but there was an edge of confidence in her now. She wasn't just there to take orders, she was there to make sure she didn't die again. Later that evening, she found herself in a familiar spot, in Sebastian's office, preparing for an early morning presentation the next day. Her eyes lingered on him for a moment, and her heart skipped a beat. It's ridiculous. He's my boss. Why should I still feel this way? But then she remembered, second chance, Joy. Second chance. Sebastian glanced up from his desk, meeting her gaze. Joy, I need those reports by 9 a.m. sharp, he said in his usual commanding tone. Got it, she said quickly, her mind already racing through the details. I'll have them ready for you. For a moment, Sebastian seemed to hesitate, as though he was going to say something more. But then, with a simple nod, he turned back to his work. He's not even going to notice me, huh? Joy thought, a little disappointed but not entirely surprised. Well, it's fine. I've got other things to focus on now. She had just finished organizing the presentation when her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Emily. Hope you're not too busy, darling. I'm planning a small get-together with Sebastian. You should come. Joy's eyes narrowed. Oh, you sneaky little. It was the same tactic Emily had used in her previous life. She'd lure Sebastian into the trap by pretending to be his friend and getting close to him. The problem was, Joy had never seen it coming. This time, she wasn't about to fall for it. Chapter 3. The invitation to Emily's small get-together sat in Joy's inbox like a ticking time bomb. Last time, she had made the mistake of ignoring Emily's intentions, and as a result, Sebastian was swept up in Emily's schemes, getting drunk, photographed with her, and ultimately manipulated into dating her. This time, though, things were going to be different. Joy had learned from her past mistakes, and she wasn't about to let Emily's charm or whatever she thought she had derail her second chance. Joy considered it for a moment before quickly typing her reply. Sounds fun, but I'll be working late tonight. Thanks for the invite, though. She hit send with a self-satisfied smirk. That was the smart move. It would keep her out of the way without giving Emily a chance to pull Sebastian into her trap. Now, all she had to do was wait for the inevitable follow-up. Later that evening, as Joy sat in her apartment catching up on work, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to go terribly wrong. Emily's relentless charm might not have worked on her this time, but Sebastian was another story. He was an adult, sure, but he wasn't always the best judge of character, especially when it came to women. She tried to distract herself by watching some random YouTube videos, but the nagging feeling in the pit of her stomach wouldn't go away. Should I be more worried about this? Just as she was about to get up and pace for the 5th time, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Sebastian. "Joy, I'm going to that gathering Emily invited me to. You sure you don't want to join? It's going to be pretty low-key." Joy groaned, almost throwing her phone across the room. The audacity of Emily, sending the invitation again like Joy would just drop everything and attend. Of course, it wasn't even about the party. Emily's whole plan was to get Sebastian in a vulnerable state, under the guise of a casual get-together, and then manipulate him into thinking they had something real. She quickly typed a response, trying to keep her tone casual but firm. "I'm good, thanks. Got too much work to do. Have fun, though." A moment passed before Sebastian's reply came through. "Alright, then. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Don't overwork yourself." Her heart skipped a beat. The fact that he cared about her health, even in such a casual text, made her feel warm inside. He's not completely oblivious to me, is he? But she quickly shook herself out of the thought. Focus, Joy. Second chance. Remember the mission. By the time 10 p.m. rolled around, Joy was deep into her work. Her desk was a mess of papers, coffee cups, and half-opened tabs on her computer. Just as she was about to wrap up, a familiar ping echoed through her phone. She picked it up and groaned. It was a picture. From Emily. The picture was clear enough. Sebastian, looking disheveled but still impossibly handsome, standing next to Emily at the party. She had her arm draped over his shoulder, leaning in way too close, her lips curled into that smug smile she always wore when she was trying to claim someone. The message underneath read, "Sebastian's had a few drinks, but don't worry, I'm keeping him company. You should really join us next time." Joy's blood boiled. That scheming. She stared at the photo for a moment, her fingers itching to text back with something sharp and clever. But then, with a deep breath, she remembered something important. This time, I'm not going to fall into the trap. Instead, she let out a long, frustrated sigh and put her phone down. Okay, fine. So Sebastian's a little tipsy. I can deal with this. The next day, the office was practically buzzing with the after-effects of the party. People were talking about how much fun it had been, how Sebastian had let loose for the first time in forever. Joy didn't ask anyone too many questions. She didn't need to. The images from the party had already made it clear what was going on, but as she walked past Sebastian's office, she paused. The door was slightly ajar, and inside, Sebastian was standing by the window, his back to her. She could see the tension in his posture, as though something was bothering him. Without thinking, Joy knocked lightly on the doorframe. "Sebastian?" He turned around, his eyes widening slightly. "Oh, Joy. Didn't hear you. You all right?" she asked, her voice careful. She wasn't sure what he would say, but she was genuinely curious. Sebastian sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's nothing. Just Emily, you know?" He gave a small chuckle, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "I don't know what happened last night. I never really let my guard down like that." Joy raised an eyebrow, stepping into the room. "You mean, you don't remember much?" "Not really," Sebastian admitted, looking a little sheepish. "I guess I had more to drink than I thought." Joy fought the urge to roll her eyes. Classic Sebastian. "Well, don't worry about it," she said with a smile that didn't quite hide her frustration. "You're still in control. Just try not to let Emily get too comfortable with this whole caring thing." Sebastian looked at her in confusion. "What do you mean?" Joy crossed her arms. "Let's just say Emily's helpful behavior doesn't come without a price. She's trying to manipulate you." Sebastian gave her a quizzical look but didn't seem to fully grasp her words. "I don't think she's trying to manipulate me. She's just friendly." "Yeah, friendly in a way that benefits her," Joy said dryly, refusing to back down. She could see the wheels turning in his head. "Maybe I should have been more subtle." But instead, she went for broke. "Look, Sebastian, I'm just telling you from experience. Some people will pretend to be all sweet and innocent, but trust me, Emily's playing a game." For a moment, Sebastian didn't respond. He just stared at her, his brow furrowed in thought. Finally, he gave a small nod. "I'll keep that in mind." Joy didn't know if he fully understood, but she wasn't going to push him too hard. At least she'd planted the seed. She just hoped it would grow before Emily had the chance to make her move later that evening. As Joy walked home, her mind raced. This isn't over yet. But I've got a plan. I'm not going to let her manipulate him, and I'm certainly not going to let her take credit for his success, she grinned to herself. Let the games begin. Chapter 4. The days that followed felt like a whirlwind of office work, casual exchanges, and sneaky glances at Sebastian. He was acting more distant than usual, still recovering from the hangover-induced fog of the previous night. Emily, on the other hand, had gone into full "I'm here to help" mode. She'd been hanging around the office, always appearing at just the right moment, offering Sebastian coffee, organizing his schedule, and making sure her presence was felt. Joy rolled her eyes every time she saw Emily's perfectly poised, too innocent for her own good smile. But the biggest shock came the day after the party, when she overheard Emily talking to Sebastian in his office. She was leaning in a little too close, and Joy's eavesdropping instincts kicked in. She pressed her back against the doorframe just out of sight, straining to hear what was going on. "I know you've been under a lot of stress, Sebastian," Emily said, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. "You've been working so hard lately. You need someone who truly understands you. Someone who can take care of you." Joy clenched her fists, resisting the urge to walk in there and demand that Emily stop with the over-the-top theatrics. But she was biding her time. She wasn't going to let Emily's manipulation slip past her again. Sebastian's response was what made Joy's stomach turn. "I appreciate it, Emily, but you know, I don't really mix business with pleasure." Emily smiled sweetly, her tone a little too knowing. "I understand. But that doesn't mean we can't just enjoy each other's company. Don't worry, I'm not asking for anything more than that. I just think you need someone to unwind with." Joy practically choked on air. Unwind with her? Is she serious? She turned and walked away before she could hear anything else. But the words had already settled in her mind, growing like a weed. Unwind with her. That night, Joy stayed late in the office, determined to get some work done. She knew Sebastian's schedule well, and when he didn't show up to his usual post-work dinner, she decided to take matters into her own hands. It was time for her to make her move, but this time, it would be different. She wouldn't just let Emily's tricks run rampant. She was going to outplay her. After finishing up a few last-minute reports, she texted Sebastian, her fingers typing quickly. "Hey, you need anything from me tonight?" It wasn't long before a response appeared on her screen. "No, I'm good for tonight. Got a little extra time. You're always so on top of everything, Joy. You deserve a break." She read the message twice before replying with a sarcastic smile. "A break? From what? Work? I'll take the rest of the year off if I'm lucky." To her surprise, he texted back almost instantly. "I don't know, Joy. Sometimes, I think you push yourself too hard." Well, someone's in a good mood, Joy thought, resisting the urge to laugh. "Looks like the party's effect hasn't worn off yet," she typed again. "Maybe I'm just that good at this job. Besides, I'm not the one with a drink in hand tonight." For a moment, she stared at the text, wondering how he'd take it. But then his reply came touché. "You're right. You are good at your job." Joy couldn't help the small smile that formed on her lips. "So he's finally giving me some credit." The next day, things took an unexpected turn. It started with a casual email, something small, really, but it ended up snowballing into a full-on situation. Emily had somehow gotten wind of the text exchange between Joy and Sebastian. Joy was sitting at her desk, minding her own business, when she got an email from Emily. The subject line was simple, "Just checking in." She clicked it, and there it was, Emily's attempt at pretending to be sweet again. But this time, there was something sinister hiding beneath the surface. "Hey Joy, I couldn't help but notice how often you're texting Sebastian these days. You know, he's a busy guy. Maybe you should let him focus on more important things." The message was a subtle jab, but Joy saw through it immediately. So this is Emily's tactic now, huh? Play the victim. She shook her head and began typing. "Thanks for your concern, but I think I can manage. You know how it is, sometimes work just doesn't wait. A few seconds passed, and then came the next message from Emily. Oh, I know. But I just wanted to remind you that Sebastian needs to let loose sometimes, too. Maybe he'd enjoy some time away from the office. We're all human, after all. The word human seemed to hang in the air like an insult, but Joy didn't bite. Instead, she typed calmly, "Appreciate the advice, Emily. But, as you know, I've always got my boss's back." She hit send and leaned back in her chair. It wasn't a perfect response, but it was something. And deep down, she felt that tiny victory bubble up. Let's see how she plays this next. That evening, she met Sebastian at a nearby cafe, keeping the mood light. They discussed work, and he looked so different, loosened up from the stress of the past week, finally opening up in a way he hadn't before. "I'll admit, I was a bit too stressed for a while," Sebastian confessed, shaking his head. "I didn't even notice how out of control things were getting until Emily said something about it." Joy raised an eyebrow. She really has been getting to him, her. "Honestly," he continued, "it's just nice having someone around who understands." Joy smirked. "Glad I'm good for something." He chuckled. "You're a lot more than just good, Joy. You keep everything running smoothly. I don't know what I'd do without you." Her heart skipped a beat. Did he just say that? But instead of overthinking it, Joy played it off with a grin. "Don't get all sentimental on me, boss. You'll make me blush." Sebastian laughed, but there was a hint of something more. And for a fleeting moment, Joy realized maybe he's not just saying this to be nice. Maybe there's something more here, after all. The night ended with them walking back to the office together, laughing and joking about the crazy things they'd both seen that day. Joy felt lighter than she had in days, but she knew this wasn't the end. This was only the beginning. "I'm not going to let Emily take him from me," she thought with a grin. "Not this time." Chapter 5. The following week, things took a peculiar turn. Joy had noticed it immediately, the subtle, almost unnoticeable glances that Sebastian would give her when he thought she wasn't looking. It was as if the line between professional and personal had blurred, and he hadn't quite figured out how to navigate it yet. Emily, of course, continued to keep herself in the picture, being the perfect helper to Sebastian in all aspects of his life. But no matter how much Emily tried to insinuate herself into his world, there was a spark between Joy and Sebastian that no one could deny, not even Emily. It all came to a head one afternoon when Joy was working late in the office, finishing up some reports. She was engrossed in her work, headphones on, blocking out the world. But then, she heard it. The sound of the office door opening. She didn't look up immediately, but the soft footfalls grew closer, and a shadow loomed over her desk. Sebastian's voice cut through her focus like a knife. "Got time for a quick chat?" he asked, a slight amusement in his tone. Joy smiled without looking up. "Sure." Just finishing up this, she finally glanced up, her eyes meeting his. "This mountain of work." He chuckled softly. "I think we both know you're doing more than just finishing reports. You're practically keeping this place running." Joy gave a nonchalant shrug, trying to mask the butterflies in her stomach. "It's what I do." Sebastian leaned against her desk, folding his arms across his chest. "I owe you, you know." Her brow furrowed. "You don't owe me anything. I'm just doing my job." "No," he said seriously. "I owe you a lot more than just a paycheck. You're the reason this company hasn't fallen apart." Joy looked up at him, genuinely surprised. "That's a bit dramatic, don't you think?" He laughed again, but there was something different in his eyes. Something softer. "Maybe. But you're more than just a PA, Joy. I've realized that. You've been here for me when no one else was. You've kept me grounded." Joy froze for a moment. The air between them thickened with something unspoken. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her thoughts. This was it, the moment she'd been waiting for, the moment where things could go either way. Should she say something? Should she tell him how she truly felt? Or was this just another passing moment? Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. It was an email notification from Emily. "Work calls," she said quickly, breaking the tension. She picked up her phone, reading the subject line. "Just a reminder, Sebastian and I have plans tonight." Joy felt her stomach twist into a knot, but she forced a smile, hoping Sebastian didn't notice the sudden change in her demeanor. "What's up?" he asked, sensing the shift in her mood. "It's nothing," Joy said quickly, tapping away at her phone to close the email. "I'll finish these up and be out of here soon." Sebastian didn't push, but the flicker of concern in his eyes didn't go unnoticed. He stood up, hands still on the desk as if he didn't quite want to leave. "Hey, if you need anything at all, just let me know, okay?" Joy nodded. "I will." As soon as he left, Joy let out a sigh. This is insane. She was so close to saying something, and yet she backed away. It wasn't just because of Emily, though that was a huge factor. It was also because of the fear of rejection, of ruining what had already become such a comfortable friendship. That evening, after work, Joy made her way home, her mind still buzzing with what had happened in the office. She had barely made it inside her apartment when her phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Sebastian. "Are you okay? I noticed something seemed off earlier." Joy bit her lip, hesitating for a moment before typing back, "I'm fine. Just a long day. You know how it is." He replied almost instantly, "I know, but you don't have to hide it from me. You can talk to me anytime." Joy's heart skipped a beat. "Is he serious?" She typed back quickly, "Thanks, but really, I'm fine. Just need to relax for the night." But then another message came through, this time from Emily. "Hey, I hope you're not too upset about tonight. I'm just making sure Sebastian's okay. He's been working so hard lately, and I really want him to unwind. I'm here for him." Joy felt her teeth clench. Here we go again. She was getting fed up with Emily's constant need to remind her of her presence. She put her phone down for a moment, taking a deep breath. "I need to do something about this." Now, the next day, Joy came into the office with a new resolve. She was done sitting back and letting Emily push her around. As soon as she walked through the door, she saw Sebastian in his office, talking to Emily. She could feel the tension between them even from across the room. Emily was leaning in a little too close, and Sebastian looked uncomfortable, his posture rigid. Joy shook her head. "Nope. Not today." She walked over, making sure to announce her presence with a loud, "Good morning." Her voice was cheerful, almost too cheerful, but it did the trick. Both Sebastian and Emily looked up at her in surprise. "Joy," Sebastian said with a smile. "I didn't expect you to be here so early." "I like to get things done," Joy replied with a wink, purposely ignoring Emily. Emily, of course, wasn't one to let things slide. "You're always so efficient, Joy," she said, her voice sugary sweet. "It's one of the things Sebastian always appreciates about you." Joy smiled coolly. "Thanks, Emily. But I'm just doing my job. I'm sure Sebastian appreciates you too." The subtle jab was clear, but Emily only smiled back, her eyes narrowing ever so slightly. "Of course," she said, her tone dripping with meaning. Joy didn't engage any further. She turned to Sebastian. "Do you need anything, Sebastian? I can help with whatever's on your plate today." He blinked, seeming momentarily lost in thought. Actually, Emily interrupted. "I was just about to help Sebastian with something. I'm sure Joy doesn't mind, right?" Joy's smile remained, but her eyes were cold. "Not at all." As the day wore on, Joy found herself constantly having to steer things back on track. Sebastian seemed increasingly withdrawn, distracted by the tug-of-war happening right in front of him. It was clear that Emily's presence was wearing on him, but every time Joy tried to engage, she felt like she was walking on eggshells. The game was changing, and this time, it wasn't just about doing her job. It was about proving she belonged in Sebastian's world on her terms. Emily might be persistent, but Joy was starting to realize something crucial. It wasn't just about saving her life this time, it was about saving the part of herself that mattered most. With each passing day, Joy grew more determined to hold her ground, but also more aware of the emotions brewing inside her. The lines between love, professional respect, and jealousy were beginning to blur in ways that made everything feel more complicated. Would Sebastian notice in time, or would Emily get her way? Chapter 6. Joy woke up the next morning with the weight of the previous day's events heavy on her mind. Her alarm clock blared, and she rolled over to silence it. As her eyes fluttered open, she groaned and buried her face in her pillow. Why is this so complicated? She had to admit, The growing tension between her, Sebastian, and Emily was starting to take a toll. Every little interaction with Sebastian was a mix of confusion and excitement, and she wasn't sure if she was walking toward a breakthrough or a cliffhanger. Her job felt like the least of her worries now. The real challenge was figuring out what to do about the electric undercurrent between her and her boss. She sighed, dragged herself out of bed, and got ready for work. A cup of coffee was necessary to prevent her brain from short-circuiting. When Joy arrived at the office, the building felt different. More like a battleground than a workplace. The air seemed thicker, charged with an invisible electricity. She walked past Emily's office, and through the glass wall, she saw her sitting on the edge of Sebastian's desk. Emily was leaning in closer than was strictly necessary for a conversation. Joy almost rolled her eyes. Really? Again with the desk sitting, but then she stopped. She wasn't going to let this bother her. She had more important things to focus on today, and a certain charming, distracted boss was top of that list. As she walked into the office, she forced herself to smile. "Good morning," she said brightly, making sure Emily could hear her. She was about to walk past the desk when Sebastian looked up. "Ah, Joy, good to see you," he said with a smile. He seemed genuinely happy to see her, and for some reason, that made Joy feel both happy and slightly guilty. "Don't overthink it," she told herself. "Good morning," she replied, but she couldn't help but notice the way Emily's smile tightened at the corner of her lips. "I was just telling Sebastian how good you've been at managing things lately," Emily chimed in sweetly, her voice dripping with faux sweetness. "Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed, Joy." Joy narrowed her eyes, but kept her face neutral. "Thanks, Emily. I'm just doing what I can." Emily blinked, momentarily caught off guard by the dry tone, before recovering with a forced smile. "Of course. Well, I just wanted to check in. You know where to find me if you need anything," she added, before walking out, her heels clicking sharply against the floor as she made her way down the hallway. Joy watched her go, but before she could process what had just happened, Sebastian's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Don't mind Emily. She means well, I guess." Joy turned back to face him, finding it hard to suppress the small smirk tugging at her lips. "She's something, all right." Sebastian chuckled, looking like a man who was doing his best to ignore the storm brewing between the two women in his life. "You're a good sport, Joy. I don't know what I'd do without you." Joy's heart did a little flutter, but she kept her composure. "Just doing my job," she said, shrugging it off. "Anything specific you need today?" "I do, actually," Sebastian said, his expression turning serious. "There's a presentation at 3 p.m. that I'd like you to prepare the materials for. You have the details?" "Got it," Joy replied. She mentally prepared herself for the day ahead, knowing she'd have to deal with more than just work. Emily had made her presence clear, and now, the competition for Sebastian's attention seemed to have become much more real. The morning flew by in a flurry of emails, calls, and meetings. Joy barely had time to think, but by lunchtime, she was exhausted. She went to grab a quick sandwich and coffee, only to find that Emily had already claimed her favorite spot by the windows, tapping away on her phone with an air of superiority. "Of course she's here." Joy decided to take a seat on the opposite side of the room, far from Emily's watchful eyes. She hadn't even taken a bite of her sandwich when her phone buzzed with a message from Sebastian. "Hey, can you meet me in my office after lunch? Got something I need to discuss with you." Joy's stomach fluttered. "What now?" she texted back quickly. "Sure. Be there in a few minutes." When Joy walked into Sebastian's office, he was sitting behind his desk, his brows furrowed in thought. But the moment he saw her, his expression softened, like he'd just been waiting for her to walk in. "Hey, thanks for coming in," he said, standing up to greet her. "No problem." "What's going on?" she asked, sitting across from him. "I need your advice on something," he said, and Joy blinked, surprised. "Advice? On what?" "Sure," she said, leaning forward slightly. "What's up?" Sebastian hesitated, then ran a hand through his hair. "It's about Emily," he said, and Joy felt a small, almost imperceptible twinge of discomfort. "Emily?" she repeated, pretending not to be too invested. "What about her?" He sighed, clearly conflicted. "She's been pushing me. I'm not sure what to do. I don't want to upset her, but I don't feel the same way. But she doesn't seem to get that." Joy's eyes widened. Wait. Did he just say what I think he said? You're not interested in her? She asked, trying to keep her voice steady. No, I'm not, Sebastian said, his voice sincere. But she's making it difficult to just be normal with her. She's always trying to make it look like we're more than we are. Joy felt a surge of relief and confusion. Why didn't he tell me this sooner? She couldn't help but wonder. Have you talked to her about it? She asked carefully. I've tried, but she's stubborn. And I don't want to cause drama, but she's really putting me in a weird spot. He sighed again, rubbing his temples as though trying to make sense of it all. I'm just so lost. And, well, I don't want to drag you into it, but Joy smiled, her heart unexpectedly lighter. You already have, she teased lightly. But I can help. It's what I do, remember? Sebastian let out a laugh, his shoulders loosening for the first time in days. I don't know what I'd do without you, Joy. Joy smiled, trying not to let her heart race. It's just part of the job, she replied. The rest of the afternoon passed by in a haze. Sebastian seemed more at ease, and even though Emily kept her usual distance, Joy could feel that something had shifted between her and Sebastian. The walls that had been built up seemed to be crumbling, and for the first time, it wasn't just work that made her smile when she saw him. When 3 p.m. came, Sebastian walked with her to the meeting room, casually asking about the presentation. His arm brushed against hers, and Joy's heart skipped a beat. The touch was brief but deliberate. She didn't think he even realized he had done it, but Joy sure did. And the feeling that washed over her wasn't the same as the discomfort she'd felt before. It was something else. Something that made her stomach flip and her head spin. It was the beginning of something she couldn't quite explain yet. Chapter 7. The days following Sebastian's confession about Emily were strangely calm, and Joy found herself oddly at ease. She kept herself busy with the usual whirlwind of tasks, but she noticed how much more often Sebastian would come by her desk to check in, asking casual questions about her day or simply offering a smile that made her heart flutter in the most unexpected ways. Every time their paths crossed, there was this unmistakable tension, a quiet, unspoken connection that neither of them dared to address fully, but it hung there between them like an invisible thread. The flirtations, though subtle, were becoming harder to ignore. Sebastian had even started leaving his office door slightly ajar when she was nearby, something she knew he didn't do for just anyone. One afternoon, while she was preparing a report on her laptop, Joy heard a knock at her office door. She looked up, startled, and found Sebastian standing there, a hesitant smile on his face. Hey, do you have a minute? He asked, stepping inside without waiting for her response. Joy immediately sensed the seriousness in his tone. Of course. What's up? Sebastian closed the door behind him and leaned against the edge of her desk. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes were searching, like he was trying to read her mind. I've been thinking, he began, about everything that's been happening recently with Emily, and I don't know how to handle it. He paused, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. I mean, I've tried being nice, but she's persistent, and I feel like I'm stuck in a position where I can't just get out of it. Joy couldn't help but feel a little smug. Of course, you're stuck, Sebastian. She's been running circles around you, but she pushed that thought aside. This wasn't about Emily. It was about him, and about them. I understand, Joy said softly, her voice filled with empathy. You don't want to hurt her feelings, but you also don't want to lead her on. He nodded, clearly grateful for her understanding. Exactly. I don't know why it's so hard to make her understand, though. She won't listen to me. Joy leaned back in her chair, her fingers tapping thoughtfully on the edge of her desk. Well, sometimes, people don't get the message unless you're blunt with them, she said, her voice light but with an edge of seriousness. Maybe you need to be more direct with Emily. Let her know where you stand. And if she doesn't listen, then, it's not your problem. Sebastian's expression softened, and for a moment, he just stared at her, as if lost in thought. You know, you always know exactly what to say, he murmured. I don't think I'd be able to handle all this without you. Joy's heart skipped a beat, but she fought the warmth that spread across her cheeks. She kept her voice steady. It's just my job, she said, her usual nonchalant tone slipping easily into place. I'm always happy to help. But Sebastian wasn't convinced. He took a step closer to her, and for the first time in a long while, Joy found herself holding her breath. He didn't seem to notice how close they were standing now. His eyes were locked on hers with an intensity that made her pulse race. "I mean it, Joy," he said quietly. "You're more than just my assistant. You've been so much more than that. You've been everything I've needed, without even knowing it." Joy's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to compose herself. What is he saying? Is this really happening? Before she could process it fully, Sebastian was stepping back, scratching his head in embarrassment. "Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I'm just rambling." Joy blinked, trying to snap out of the daze his words had left her in. "Is he really into me?" But before she could respond, the office phone rang loudly, breaking the tension. She jumped, startled by the sudden interruption. "Saved by the bell," Sebastian said, his voice dripping with irony. He gave her a half smile before heading toward the door. "I'll let you get back to work. Just think about what I said." Joy nodded, her mind still reeling from the conversation. What did he say? Does he like me? Her heart couldn't decide whether to feel hopeful or terrified. The walls between them had come down in a way she hadn't expected, and now, she had to figure out what to do with it. As the days passed, Joy found herself more and more distracted. Every little thing Sebastian did seemed to have double meanings. A casual touch on her arm when handing her something, the way he would linger a little too long in conversation, his eyes always seeking hers. Was this how she was supposed to feel? Was this the normal progression of a working relationship that, unbeknownst to her, had been headed towards something else? But then, every now and then, Emily's presence would return, and the storm clouds would gather again. The tension between the three of them was palpable. Joy couldn't ignore the way Emily would look at her with those cutting, knowing glances whenever she and Sebastian were talking. And yet, despite everything, Joy wasn't backing down. She'd been reborn for a reason, and she wasn't going to let Emily or anyone else get in her way this time. One evening, after a long day of work, Sebastian invited Joy to stay late and help him with some paperwork. She agreed, knowing it wasn't just about the work, he wanted her company. It was the unspoken truth between them, and the more time they spent together, the more obvious it became. They sat in the dimly lit office, the only sound being the rustle of papers and the occasional clink of their coffee mugs. Sebastian had just finished a call, and when he turned to her, there was a softness in his eyes that made Joy's heart flip. "Joy," he said quietly, "I need to thank you. I don't know how I could have gotten through all this without you. You've been a constant." Joy swallowed hard. The air between them felt thick, charged, and for the first time, she wasn't sure if she was ready to face whatever was happening between them. "Sebastian," she started, but he cut her off, leaning forward on the desk, his face inches from hers. "You don't have to say anything, Joy," he murmured, his voice low. "I've been trying to keep it professional, but it's hard. Really hard." Before Joy could react, he closed the gap, his lips brushing hers in a soft, lingering kiss. Time seemed to freeze around them, and when they finally pulled apart, neither of them spoke for a long moment. Joy's thoughts were a blur of confusion, excitement, and disbelief. Did that just happen? Sebastian looked at her, his eyes filled with an intensity that made her pulse race. "I've liked you for a long time, Joy," he admitted softly. "I didn't want to mess things up, but I can't keep pretending anymore. I need you to know that." Joy's heart was racing now, her mind trying to catch up with the rush of emotions flooding her. What now? Chapter 8. The days after that kiss passed in a whirlwind for Joy. Each moment felt like a slow-motion replay of the intimacy they had shared. She found herself replaying the moment over and over in her head, trying to decode it, to make sense of what it all meant. Did he really just kiss me? Did he mean it? Her mind spiraled with questions. Meanwhile, Sebastian seemed oddly calm, almost as if the kiss hadn't been a big deal. He'd given her space, but in his quiet moments, she could see the way his gaze lingered on her. It was as if everything had changed, but neither of them had acknowledged it out loud. They were still playing the game of pretend, acting like nothing had happened, but the atmosphere between them had shifted. The awkwardness was gone, replaced with an electric current that neither of them could quite shake off. One afternoon, as they both worked in Sebastian's office, Joy couldn't help but notice how the tension between them had grown. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it was undeniably there just beneath the surface. She could feel it in the way he occasionally glanced at her, or the subtle smile that would tug at the corners of his lips whenever she said something. Joy let out a small sigh, leaning back in her chair as she rubbed her temples. The workload was overwhelming. "Why is everything so much harder now? What's wrong?" Sebastian asked, his voice soft, laced with concern. He was standing by her desk now, a steaming cup of tea in his hand. Joy hesitated for a moment, surprised by the question. "It's nothing," she replied quickly, straightening up and trying to hide her fatigue. "Just a bit of stress. A lot on my plate." Sebastian didn't buy it for a second. He set the cup of tea on her desk and then placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You've been working non-stop, Joy," he said, his tone warm but firm. "You're going to burn yourself out at this rate." Joy blinked, slightly startled by the concern in his voice. "Is he really worried about me?" "I'll be fine," she said, trying to brush it off. But Sebastian wasn't having any of it. "No, you won't," he said, a smirk tugging at his lips. "You're going to go home early tonight, and I'm going to make sure of it." Joy raised an eyebrow, laughing a little. "You make me go home?" "Yes," he said, standing a little straighter. "I'm your boss, remember?" Joy chuckled, shaking her head. "Oh, really? Since when do you actually enforce rules?" He shrugged, a playful glint in his eyes. "Since I realized you're a terrible influence on my work-life balance." Her laughter filled the room. "Okay, maybe I can get used to this." But even as the playful banter continued, Joy couldn't ignore the nagging feeling in the back of her mind. She was no longer just his assistant, she was something more. She had no idea what this relationship was, or where it was going, but she was starting to wonder if this was the moment everything had shifted. A few days later, during a casual lunch break, Joy found herself sitting across from Sebastian in a small cafe near the office. The place was cozy, filled with the scent of freshly brewed coffee and the hum of quiet conversations. They were eating sandwiches and talking about nothing in particular, but every so often, their eyes would meet, and Joy could feel the weight of the unspoken words between them. "So, about Emily," Joy began, hesitating for a moment. She wasn't sure how to approach the subject, but the curiosity was gnawing at her. "How are you handling that whole situation? You said you'd been trying to be direct with her, but has it worked?" Sebastian took a sip of his drink, his brow furrowing slightly. "Not really," he admitted, his tone heavy with frustration. "Every time I try to tell her I'm not interested, she pulls out another trick to keep me tangled up in her web. She just won't take no for an answer." Joy leaned forward, her brow furrowed in thought. "Emily is really something, isn't she?" "Well, you can't let her control the situation," Joy said, her voice firm. "You need to be clear and uncompromising with her, or else she'll keep pushing you around. It's not fair to either of you." Sebastian nodded, clearly appreciating her insight. "I know. I've been avoiding her lately, but I don't think that's enough anymore. I have to stand my ground." Joy's eyes softened with sympathy. "You will. You just need to be confident in what you want, and it'll all fall into place." For a moment, the weight of their conversation settled between them. But before it could get too heavy, Sebastian grinned mischievously. "You know," he said, leaning back in his chair, "I've been thinking about something else." Joy raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" He leaned closer, his eyes sparkling. "You." Joy's breath hitched in her throat. "Me?" "Yes, you," he said with a playful grin. "You're always so serious, but I think you need a little fun in your life." "Fun?" Joy echoed, raising an eyebrow. "I don't know about that." "Oh, I think you do." Sebastian's voice was low and teasing. "In fact, I'm planning something for the weekend. A little getaway. Just the two of us." Joy stared at him, her heart skipping a beat. What did he just say? "I think you've earned a break, and I know you won't take one unless I force you to," he continued, still grinning. "So, consider this an offer you can't refuse." Joy opened her mouth to protest, but the look in his eyes told her he wasn't joking. And, truthfully, part of her didn't want him to be. A weekend away with Sebastian? Her heart fluttered at the thought. "Well, I can't exactly turn down a boss who knows how to make an offer," she said with a smirk. "Good," Sebastian said, his grin widening. "I'll make the arrangements." Pack your bags, Joy. We're going on an adventure. Joy's mind raced with excitement, but also with uncertainty. What is happening between us? She was about to find out. Chapter 9. The weekend had finally arrived, and Joy found herself standing in front of her full-length mirror, assessing her wardrobe with growing anxiety. The night before, she'd received a message from Sebastian. Pack for the weekend. I have a surprise planned for you. A surprise? She couldn't even begin to guess what he had in mind. Was it work-related? Maybe he was planning some corporate retreat, she had no idea. But one thing was certain, it wasn't going to be a normal weekend, and she couldn't help but feel a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. After another 10 minutes of indecision, Joy finally settled on a casual yet stylish outfit. She wasn't about to look like a complete disaster, especially not when spending the weekend with her impossibly charming boss. When she arrived at his house to meet him, she couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. Would things be awkward? Would they slip back into their professional roles, or was this an opportunity for something more? Sebastian opened the door with his usual air of calm confidence. His eyes brightened when he saw her, and he offered her that signature half-smile that made her heart do flip-flops. Ready for an adventure? He asked, his tone casual but with a twinkle of something that hinted at a shared secret. I guess so, Joy replied, trying to sound composed. But, seriously, where are we going? Sebastian waved his hand dismissively, clearly enjoying the mystery. I thought you'd like the surprise. Trust me, you'll love it. Joy rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress the smile that tugged at her lips. You're impossible. I know, he said, grinning. Now, let's get going. The drive was surprisingly calm, considering the swirling thoughts racing through Joy's mind. She had no idea where they were headed, and she wasn't sure whether that was exciting or terrifying. They left the city behind and headed into the countryside, the landscape gradually transforming from urban sprawl to wide-open fields dotted with trees. So, Joy ventured after a few minutes of silence, trying to break the tension. What's the plan for this weekend? Hiking? Camping? Or is this one of those team-building exercises you love so much? Sebastian laughed. Trust me, no ropes courses or trust falls. I think we've had enough of those at work. He shot her a look that was both teasing and appreciative. Joy laughed along with him, appreciating his attempt to keep things light. He had a way of making her feel comfortable, and that comfort, however unexpected, made her heart race. Eventually, the road narrowed, and they pulled into a secluded cabin nestled by the edge of a shimmering lake. It was the kind of place you saw in movies, quaint, picturesque, and the perfect escape from the hustle of everyday life. Well, this is... Joy breathed out in awe, stepping out of the car and gazing at the view before her. The air smelled of pine and fresh water, and the golden hues of the sunset reflected off the lake, creating a tranquil, almost surreal atmosphere. You like it? Sebastian asked, his voice full of satisfaction. I love it, Joy replied, feeling a genuine sense of peace settle over her. This place is perfect. Sebastian led her inside, and the cabin was just as charming as the outside. The soft glow of a fireplace, warm wood beams across the ceiling, and rustic furnishings created an inviting, cozy atmosphere. It felt like a sanctuary, far removed from the busy corporate world they usually inhabited. So, Joy began, glancing over at him as they settled on the couch. What now? Do we just sit here and enjoy the view? Because I have to say, I'm not mad at that. Sebastian chuckled, clearly enjoying the easy camaraderie between them. We can do that. But I was thinking we could grab a drink first, settle in. I've got a couple of local wines I thought you might like. Wine? Now you're speaking my language, Joy said with a grin. She followed him to the small kitchen area, where he opened a bottle of red wine and poured them each a glass. They sat on the porch together, sipping their drinks in comfortable silence. The lake stretched out before them, the calm water reflecting the last of the day's light. You know, Sebastian said after a while, his voice quieter now, I think we both needed this. Joy took a sip of her wine, feeling the warmth of the alcohol settle in. I think you're right. I didn't realize how much I needed to get away from work until now. Same, Sebastian replied, his voice tinged with a surprising sincerity. It's easy to get caught up in everything, you know? We keep pushing and pushing, but we forget to take a step back and just breathe. Joy nodded, her thoughts echoing his words. Exactly. It's like we're always running on autopilot. The evening continued in this relaxed rhythm, filled with gentle laughter and light conversation. It felt easy, natural. For once, it didn't feel like they were bound by their work roles or by the expectations that came with them. This was just Joy and Sebastian, two people who found themselves on a quiet getaway, and just when she thought the evening couldn't be any more perfect, things took a sudden, unexpected turn. Sebastian's phone buzzed on the table. He glanced at it, his expression immediately hardening. "I'm sorry," he said, standing up and looking slightly frustrated. "I need to take this. It's work stuff." Joy nodded, trying not to feel disappointed. Of course, it was work. Why wouldn't it be? As Sebastian stepped away to answer the call, Joy leaned back in her chair, staring at the lake. She tried to push away the sense of unease that crept into her chest. "It's just work," she reminded herself. "Don't overthink this, Joy," but the truth was, a small part of her had been hoping for more, a deeper connection, maybe even a chance for something real. And now, as she sat there alone, she wasn't sure if that was something she could even begin to hope for. Chapter 10. By the time Sebastian returned from his phone call, Joy was still staring out at the lake, her thoughts a tangled mess. She hadn't meant to zone out, but it seemed that lately, her mind had been running on overdrive, trying to make sense of things she wasn't quite sure she understood. The soft ripples of the water below, the warm breeze against her skin, and the distant chirping of crickets had all conspired to create a moment of quiet, one that she wasn't quite sure how to navigate. Sebastian's footsteps were light on the wooden porch as he came up behind her, and before she could turn to face him, she felt his presence beside her. "Hey," he said softly, his voice warm with concern. "You okay?" Joy didn't immediately reply. She wasn't sure if it was the wine, the solitude, or the weight of the conversation they had just had, but everything seemed more complicated now. Her brain had become a cocktail of emotions: irritation at Emily, guilt for being distracted by her own feelings, and a sense of longing that she didn't want to admit. "Yeah, I'm fine," Joy said, but her voice was quieter than she'd intended. "Just thinking." Sebastian studied her, his gaze intense but not uncomfortable. "You sure? You've been pretty quiet since the call. Normally, I can count on you to make fun of me when I get all corporate and serious." Joy flashed him a small smile, trying to lighten the mood. "I'm just trying to imagine you in a suit at some fancy gala tomorrow," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Not sure if I can picture you surrounded by all those high society people." Sebastian chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that always seemed to soothe her. "It's a stretch, trust me. I'd rather spend my time here with you than with the corporate suits. But Emily insists it's important for the company. She doesn't take no for an answer." The mention of Emily's name brought a slight tightening in Joy's chest. Of course. Why wouldn't she? Joy hadn't said much about Emily since arriving at the cabin, but she wasn't blind. She could see the way Emily always found a way to insert herself into Sebastian's life, no matter how many times he tried to push her out. And what bothered Joy the most was the way Emily's influence over Sebastian seemed to have no boundaries, no matter how hard he tried to ignore it. "Well," Joy said, her tone more playful than she felt, "sounds like you're stuck in a delicate web of company interests and social climbing. Maybe you should just tell her you're already busy, you know? Like, hey, Emily, I've got a better offer for the weekend or something." Sebastian shot her an amused look, leaning back in his chair. "I'd love to tell her that. But it's not that simple. Emily has a way of making people do what she wants, especially when it comes to her family." Joy raised an eyebrow. "You're talking about Emily like she's some kind of puppet master." Sebastian shrugged, glancing out at the lake. "Maybe I'm exaggerating a little. But she's persistent, and her family is powerful. They've got their fingers in a lot of things. Sometimes, you just have to play along to keep the peace." "Peace?" Joy echoed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You mean, let her win?" Sebastian met her gaze, his expression turning more serious. "I'm not saying I'm letting her win. I'm just saying, it's complicated." He paused, clearly searching for the right words. "There's a lot more to it than just me and her. There's family history, business relationships. It's not just about us anymore." Joy felt a wave of frustration rise within her. She couldn't help but wonder how much of Sebastian's life was being dictated by outside forces, by family, by work, by expectations. It wasn't fair. She had known for a while that the dynamic between them was delicate, but this was something else. The more he talked about Emily, the more it sounded like he was trapped in some sort of web, unable to escape, even if he wanted to. So, what you're saying is, you're going to the gala tomorrow because your hands are tied? Joy asked, her voice tight with a mix of amusement and annoyance. Sebastian's gaze softened. I didn't say that. It's just, he rubbed the back of his neck, clearly trying to ease the tension between them. I don't know how to say this without making it sound worse than it is. Joy crossed her arms, leaning back in her chair. Go on. I'm listening. Sebastian sighed, as if he'd been waiting for this moment. I'm not going because I want to go. I'm going because it's expected of me. Emily, she's not the only one who benefits from this. It's a way to keep certain people happy. I'm doing my job, even if it's not what I want. Joy let out a long, slow breath. She could see the inner conflict on his face. It wasn't as though he was enjoying the situation. If anything, he seemed just as trapped as she felt. But it didn't change the fact that Emily was still in the picture, still making moves, and still trying to get under Joy's skin. And what about me? Joy asked, her voice surprisingly steady. What about us? You can't keep running around trying to make everyone happy, Sebastian. I'm sure you know that. Sebastian paused, looking as if he'd been struck by a sudden realization. For a brief moment, the usual calm facade slipped, and something more vulnerable showed through. I know. You're right. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. He looked down at his glass, swirling the wine absently. I don't want to hurt you, Joy. But I'm stuck between so many things right now. I don't know how to navigate it. Joy softened at his words, even as her heart twisted. So that's what this is about, she thought. He's not blind to what's happening. He's just lost. Well, Joy said after a beat, trying to make light of the situation. Maybe we should just throw Emily into the lake. Problem solved. Sebastian laughed, his shoulders relaxing as the tension in the air slowly dissipated. You know, you've got a really dark sense of humor. But that's exactly what I need right now. Someone who can make me laugh about the mess I'm in. Joy smiled, feeling a little lighter, even if only for a moment. I try. But as they both fell into a more comfortable silence, something lingered in the air, a subtle undercurrent of something more, and Joy realized, in that moment, that no matter what Emily had in store, she wasn't about to let it come between her and Sebastian. The rest of the evening passed quietly, with a new sense of understanding between them. No matter how complicated their world seemed, for the first time, Joy felt like she wasn't alone in it. Chapter 11. The night of the gala arrived, and Joy found herself regretting all of her life decisions. Why had she agreed to this? Oh, right. Because Sebastian had pouted and guilt-tripped her about needing a buffer between him and Emily. Now she was here, in a sleek black dress, standing beside a man who looked like he was 2 seconds away from physically dodging Emily's existence. Sebastian sighed beside her. If I mysteriously disappear tonight, assume Emily had me kidnapped. Joy snorted. If you mysteriously disappear, I'm assuming you finally faked your own death to escape work. I'd do it, he said, taking a sip of his whiskey. But knowing you, you'd track me down and drag me back to the office. Damn right. Unfortunately, their amusing side chat ended when Emily arrived, dressed in a bold red gown that screamed villain origin story. Oh, Sebastian, Emily cooed, completely ignoring Joy. You came. I was worried you'd be too busy. Sebastian exhaled sharply. Emily. Joy immediately grabbed a glass of champagne. Oh, this is going to be a show. Emily didn't even spare Joy a glance before locking her claws, hands, onto Sebastian's arm. You should come take some photos with me for the press. You know how much the investors love seeing us together. Sebastian tensed. No, Emily blinked. What do you mean, no? Sebastian shot her a deadpan look. It's a simple word. Would you like me to spell it out? Joy nearly choked on her drink. OOF. That was beautiful, Emily recovered quickly, smiling sweetly. Come now, don't be like that. Remember the last time? The media loved those pictures. We looked so good together. Sebastian's eye twitched. Oh, you mean the last gala? When I was drunk? And someone conveniently arranged for me to be photographed in a compromising situation? Joy took another sip of her drink. Oh, here it comes, Emily laughed nervously. Oh, come on, Sebastian. You're acting like I did something terrible. It was just one night. Sebastian set his glass down, jaw tightening. One night. Joy watched with intrigue. Sebastian crossed his arms. Emily, are you sure you want to bring up that night? Emily faltered. What do you mean? Sebastian's lips curled slightly. Because I recently found out that it wasn't you in those photos with me. Silence. Joy frowned. Wait, what? Sebastian turned to look at her, something unreadable in his gaze. It wasn't Emily. Joy blinked. Then, who? Sebastian exhaled, giving her a very pointed look. Joy stared back. Then it hit her, her glass of champagne almost slipped from her fingers. Wait, me? Sebastian nodded. Joy's brain completely shut down. You're joking. Sebastian sighed. I wish I was. Emily's face was frozen in shock. She clearly hadn't expected this turn of events. That's not possible, she sputtered. It had to be me. Sebastian raised an eyebrow. Are you sure about that? Emily's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Joy, meanwhile, was experiencing a full-body crisis. Wait. Hold on. You're telling me that she pointed to herself, was drunk that night? Sebastian nodded. And I was the one in those pictures? Another nod. Joy slapped a hand to her forehead. Oh my God. Sebastian sighed again, rubbing his temple. It explains why you don't remember. Joy groaned. Of course I don't remember. I was too busy dying of exhaustion and apparently, drunken stupidity. Emily was still processing. But that means, Sebastian smirked. That means your little plan to force me into a relationship was never going to work. Because you were never in those photos to begin with. Emily paled. Sebastian took a step forward, his voice cold. I let you push me around for too long. I let you spin your little narratives, manipulate situations, and act like I was some accessory for your public image. But it ends now. Emily clenched her fists. Sebastian, you can't be serious. I have never been more serious, he interrupted, eyes flashing with finality. Stay away from me. Stay away from Joy. And for the love of God, get a new hobby that doesn't involve me. Silence. Then a waiter, oblivious to the tension, strolled by. Champagne? Joy grabbed another glass. You know what? I need this. Sebastian sighed. Make it two. Emily turned on her heel and stormed out of the ballroom. The moment she was gone, Joy turned to Sebastian, eyes still wide. Sebastian. Yes. Joy inhaled deeply. I was in those pictures. Sebastian pinched the bridge of his nose. Yes, Joy. I can never show my face in public again. Sebastian chuckled. Unfortunately, you work for me, so that's not an option. Joy dramatically covered her face with her hands. This is it. This is the end for me. Goodbye, cruel world. Sebastian laughed, gently prying her hands away. Relax. No one else knows yet. Joy peeked at him through her fingers. Yet. Sebastian smirked. Let's just say, we'll deal with that later. Joy groaned. Great. Just great. But despite her complaints, she couldn't help but notice the warmth in his eyes. And for the first time, she wondered if she had been the one in those photos. Then why didn't Sebastian say anything sooner? Chapter 12. Joy sat on her bed, staring at her phone like it had personally ruined her life. Sebastian had sent her a text after the gala. Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow. Talk? Talk about what? The fact that she had somehow managed to ruin her own life twice. The fact that she, a woman who prided herself on having common sense, had not only gotten drunk but also starred in an accidental scandal with her own boss. Joy groaned, rolling onto her stomach and burying her face in her pillow. This was a disaster. She squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself to remember. But no matter how hard she tried, all she got were blurry flashes, laughter, the warm feel of Sebastian's suit against her fingertips, the dizzying spin of the ballroom lights, and Joy sat up abruptly. Did I hug him? She pressed her hands to her temples, feeling the beginnings of a migraine. This was bad. This was so bad. Then her phone rang. She looked down and nearly dropped the device. Sebastian. Joy briefly considered throwing her phone out the window, moving to another country, and changing her name to avoid this conversation. Instead, she picked up. Cello? Morning, Sebastian's smooth voice greeted. Joy winced. Morning, a pause, then, you sound like you're about to pass out. Joy flopped back onto her bed. Believe me, I wish I could. Sebastian chuckled. You're still hungover, aren't you? I don't want to talk about it. Well, we kind of have to. Joy groaned. Can we pretend last night never happened? Nope. Not even a little. Joy. She huffed, pressing a pillow to her face. Fine. Let's talk. Sebastian hesitated before continuing. Do you really not remember anything? Joy peeked out from under the pillow. Nothing useful. Sebastian sighed. I figured. Look. It's not as bad as you think. Joy laughed humorlessly. Oh, really? Because I think I just found out I was the person in those photos with you, and I was too drunk to remember it. That sounds pretty bad to me. Sebastian was silent for a moment before he spoke. At least now we know the truth. Joy frowned. Wait. You knew before tonight? Another pause. Joy sat up. Sebastian? He sighed. I had a suspicion. Joy blinked. So, you weren't sure? I wasn't. Not until tonight. Joy's brain struggled to process this. So you thought it was me, but you let Emily take the credit for ruining your life. Sebastian exhaled sharply. Joy, I was drunk. And I had no reason to suspect Emily wasn't telling the truth at the time. Joy frowned. You had some suspicions. Sebastian ran a hand through his hair. I did. But without proof, what was I supposed to do? Emily was using the photos to pressure me into staying by her side. If I said anything, she'd twist the narrative and make it worse. Joy groaned. So you just went along with it? Sebastian's voice turned wry. Would you rather I had announced to the world that my assistant was the one in the photos with me? Joy opened her mouth, then closed it. Okay. Fair point, she sighed. Okay, fine. But still. Why didn't you say anything to me? Sebastian hesitated. Would you have believed me? Joy stopped. He had a point. If he had come up to her out of nowhere, claiming she was in those photos, she probably would have laughed in his face. Joy flopped back down onto her bed. Ooh, I hate that you're right. Sebastian chuckled. That's a first. Joy scowled at her ceiling. Don't get used to it. Sebastian hummed in amusement. Anyway, now that we've cleared that up, there's another issue. Joy groaned. Please tell me it's something fun. Not exactly. Emily is pissed. Joy sat up. Of course she is. We exposed her. Sebastian sighed. She's going to try something. Joy frowned. You think so? I know so. Joy bit her lip. Then, what do we do? Sebastian was silent for a moment before answering. We wait. Joy frowned. Wait. Sebastian's voice was calm but firm. Emily is the type to lash out when she's cornered. If she's planning something, she'll make a move soon. And when she does, we'll be ready. Joy shivered. That sounds ominous. Sebastian chuckled. It's just the truth. Joy exhaled. All right. But if she does something crazy, please promise me you won't do anything reckless. Sebastian smirked. Define reckless. Sebastian. Fine, fine. I promise. Joy sighed. Good. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to spend the rest of my day pretending none of this happened. Sebastian hummed. Enjoy that while it lasts. Joy narrowed her eyes. Why? What does that mean? Sebastian's smirk was evident in his voice. You'll see. And with that, he hung up. Joy stared at her phone. What the hell does that mean? Chapter 13. Joy barely stepped into the office before realizing something was off. People were whispering everywhere as she walked toward her desk, She could feel the eyes on her, the hushed conversations stopping the moment she passed by. Joy resisted the urge to check if she had something on her face. Instead, she kept her head high and marched forward, pretending not to hear snippets of conversation. "Did you see the news? Oh my God, the drama. This is better than a soap opera." Emily's response was brutal. "Poor thing, I feel bad for her." "I don't. She totally deserved it." "You don't steal someone's man." Joy's stomach twisted. "Oh no," she yanked out her phone, fingers shaking as she tapped on the trending news, and there it was. Emily reveals betrayal. Was she played all along? Joy's jaw clenched. Of course she turned this into a spectacle. She clicked the article and skimmed through until she saw Emily's graciously worded statement, "I gave my heart to someone who never truly wanted me. It's painful to realize that while I was fighting for our love, someone else was stealing him away. I only ever wanted to support Sebastian, but I suppose some people don't believe in loyalty. Still, I wish them well. If he's happy, that's all that matters to me." Joy nearly threw her phone. "Loyalty," she muttered under her breath. "You blackmailed him into dating you." And now, she was playing the victim. Joy could already imagine the internet tearing her apart. A sudden voice interrupted her rage. "I see you've read the morning news." She turned to see Sebastian standing behind her, coffee in hand. He looked amused, too amused for someone who was literally in the middle of a public scandal. Joy glared at him. "Emily is trying to paint me as the other woman." Sebastian took a slow sip of his coffee, completely unfazed. "I know." Joy gaped at him. "And you're this calm?" Sebastian shrugged. "This was expected." Joy threw up her hands. "Well, excuse me for not being a psychic." Sebastian chuckled, setting his coffee down. "Relax. She's grasping at straws. Anyone with a brain knows she's lying." Joy scoffed. "Sebastian, the internet loves drama. They don't care if it's true." Sebastian smirked. "Then let's give them something better." Joy narrowed her eyes. "What does that mean?" Sebastian leaned in, his voice lowering. "Let's just say Emily won't like what happens next." A meeting with the devil herself. Later that afternoon, Sebastian called for a special meeting. Joy expected it to be something serious. What she did not expect was Emily striding into the office, sunglasses perched on her nose, flanked by two assistants who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. Joy stiffened. Sebastian, on the other hand, looked bored. "Emily," he greeted flatly. "To what do we owe the pleasure?" Emily removed her sunglasses dramatically, placing them on the table. "Sebastian, I think you know why I'm here." Sebastian took a slow sip of his coffee. "I don't." Emily's lips twitched, but she kept her smile. "I saw the articles. I saw the pictures. So tell me, Sebastian, do I even get an explanation?" Sebastian set his coffee down and leaned back. "An explanation for what?" Emily's eye twitched. "For what happened between you and her." She shot a look at Joy, who pretended to be extremely interested in the coffee stain on her notepad. Sebastian tilted his head. "Oh, you mean the pictures that revealed you've been lying this whole time?" Emily clenched her jaw. "I wasn't lying." Sebastian raised a brow. "So you did think Joy was the woman in those photos, and you just forgot?" Joy bit her lip to hold back a laugh. Emily's eye twitched again. "I was misled." Sebastian hummed. "By yourself." Joy nearly choked. Emily exhaled sharply. "Sebastian, we've been together for a year. You can't just throw that away because of her." Sebastian's expression turned cold. "I was never with you, Emily." The room went silent. Emily stared at him, as if trying to process what he had just said. Sebastian continued, voice sharp and clear. "You forced me into this. You knew what you were doing, and you did it anyway. Don't come here pretending to be the victim." Emily's hands curled into fists. "Sebastian, no." His voice was firm. "We're done. We were never anything to begin with. Whatever fantasy you built in your head, let it go." Emily's breath hitched. Joy watched, half in shock, half in awe. Did he just completely shut her down? Emily stood up, placing her sunglasses back on with a fake smile. "I see. Well then." She turned to Joy, eyes sharp. "You must feel so proud of yourself." Joy blinked. "Huh?" Emily smirked. "Stealing someone else's man. Do you enjoy being a homewrecker? Joy snorted. I think that requires a home to wreck. You and Sebastian weren't even in the same neighborhood. Sebastian chuckled. Emily's jaw tightened. This isn't over. Sebastian smirked. It is. Emily turned on her heel and stormed out of the office, her assistant scrambling to follow her. The moment the door slammed shut, Joy collapsed into a chair. Holy crap. Sebastian exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Well, that was dramatic. Joy stared at him. You think? Sebastian smirked. Did you enjoy the show? Joy let out a breath. I don't know whether to feel relieved or scared for my life. Sebastian chuckled. Emily's all talk. She won't try anything too crazy. Joy sighed. I hope you're right. Sebastian leaned closer. But, Joy, she blinked up at him. Yeah. Sebastian's smirk widened. I liked your comeback. Joy blinked, then groaned, hiding her face. Don't encourage me. Sebastian laughed. For the first time since this mess started, Joy felt lighter. Emily had lost, and somehow, Sebastian had chosen her. She wasn't sure what that meant yet, but she was very interested to find out. Chapter 14. Joy was exhausted mentally, emotionally, spiritually. After Emily's dramatic exit, the entire office had been buzzing with gossip. Did you hear? Sebastian totally shut Emily down. I knew he never actually liked her. That relationship always felt weird. What about Joy? I mean, are they actually together? Ooh, office romance? Scandalous. I don't care what anyone says. I'm team Joy Bustian. Joy Bustian. Joy nearly tripped over her own feet when she heard that one. She refused to become a ship named. As she walked toward her desk, she could feel the stares of her co-workers. Some were amused, others envious, but most were just insanely curious. The last thing she wanted was to feed into their assumptions. She just needed to get to her desk, do her work, and avoid Joy. She froze. That was the voice of the last person she wanted to deal with right now, Janet. Janet was the company's self-proclaimed queen of gossip. If she so much as sneezed, the entire building would know what brand of tissue she used. Joy slowly turned, trying to school her expression. Hey, Janet. Janet's predatory grin sent a shiver down her spine. So, tell me, Janet began, already pulling out her phone. Is it true that you and Mr. Morgan have been secretly dating? Joy almost choked on air. What? Janet giggled. Oh, don't be shy. Everyone saw the chemistry during the meeting. And then Emily's reaction. I mean, classic jealous ex-girlfriend move. Honestly, I think you two make a stunning couple. Joy put up both hands. Okay, first of all, Sebastian and I are not dating. Janet squinted. Second, Joy continued, Emily was never his actual girlfriend. She forced herself into his life. Janet gasped. Oh, so it's a love triangle situation. Joy groaned. Are you even listening to me? Janet smiled innocently. Of course, sweetie. But what I hear is that you and the boss are endgame. Joy nearly screamed. That is not what I said. Janet winked. Gotcha. Then she turned around and practically skipped away, typing furiously on her phone. Joy buried her face in her hands. I give up. Meanwhile, in Sebastian's office, Sebastian was having a fantastic morning. Emily was out of his hair. Joy had shut her down with an excellent comeback, and now, he was free to focus on work. Or at least, that was the plan, because right now, he was scrolling through an office chat group called #Joy Bustian Office Romance Watch. Sebastian nearly spit out his coffee. What the hell was this? His eyes scanned through the messages. Janet. Guys, I got confirmation. Joy said they're not dating. Peter. Classic denial phase. Lisa. We should start a betting pool. When do we think they'll get together? Jake. I give it 2 months. Tops. Sarah. 3 weeks. The tension is real, Janet. Personally, I think they're already together and just keeping it a secret. Sebastian rubbed his temples. Why was he not surprised that Janet was behind this? He was about to close the chat when he saw a final message that made him pause. Ben, wait. Didn't Joy also say Emily forced herself into his life? Jake. Yeah, what did she mean by that? Lisa. Eyes. Sebastian's eyes darkened. He didn't like that Emily still had leverage in the public eye. He needed to fix this. Joy gets a surprise visit. Joy was just settling into her work when her desk phone rang. She sighed and picked it up. "This is Joy speaking. Come to my office." Joy blinked. "Sebastian? Now." The line clicked. Joy sighed. "What now?" She grabbed her notebook and headed to his office. When she walked in, Sebastian was leaning against his desk, arms crossed. "Close the door." Joy frowned but obeyed. Sebastian held up his phone. "We have a situation." Joy peeked at the screen. Her soul left her body. Joy Bastian office romance watch. She squeaked. Sebastian smirked. "You're famous." Joy slapped her forehead. "Oh my god, kill me now." Sebastian chuckled. "Tempting. But I have a better idea." Joy squinted. "Why do I feel like I won't like this?" Sebastian pushed away from the desk and walked up to her. "You want Emily to shut up, right?" Joy nodded slowly. "Then we need to change the narrative." Joy crossed her arms. "How?" Sebastian smirked. "We give them something better to talk about." Joy blinked. "What does that mean?" Sebastian leaned down slightly, invading her personal space. Joy's breath hitched. Sebastian?" Sebastian grinned. Then he reached up, gently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Joy froze. His touch was warm. Her brain completely shut down. Then he pulled back, smirk widening. "There," he said. "That should do it." Joy's eye twitched. "That should do what?" Sebastian pointed at the office windows. Joy turned, and her soul evaporated. There, on the other side of the glass, half the office was watching. Some had their phones out. Janet? Janet looked like she had been reborn. Joy grabbed Sebastian's collar. "Sebastian Morgan," she hissed, "I will end you." Sebastian laughed. "Relax," he said. "Now they have a new rumor to focus on. Emily will be old news by tomorrow." Joy glared. "You enjoy tormenting me, don't you?" Sebastian grinned. "Immensely." Joy groaned. "I hate you." Sebastian smirked. "No, you don't." Joy turned bright red, and from outside, Janet squealed. "This is better than TV." Chapter 15. The office had turned into a circus. No, scratch that, it was more like a reality show at this point. Ever since Sebastian and Joy's public moment in the office, things had taken an absurd turn. The entire office was on high alert, gossip spreading faster than wildfire. The photos were already all over the internet, and the public opinion was wildly swinging in every direction. Some believed they were already secretly dating, others were convinced it was just an office prank gone wrong, and of course, there were the conspiracy theorists claiming it was all a marketing strategy. But what really mattered? The rumor mill was finally working in their favor. Emily was no longer the focal point. A not-so-subtle chat. Joy sat at her desk, trying to look busy, but honestly, all she could focus on was the flurry of messages filling her inbox. Janet had sent 1,000,001 theories on the Joy Bastian phenomenon, and Joy didn't have the energy to respond. She had just clicked open a random email when she heard a voice behind her. "Can we talk?" Her heart skipped. She knew exactly who it was. She had been avoiding this conversation all day. "Sebastian, I'm kind of in the middle of I don't care. This is important." Before she could protest, he plopped down on the edge of her desk, his serious expression telling her that this wasn't a joke. Joy shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "What's up?" Sebastian folded his arms, his jaw tightening. "I don't like how you're handling this." Joy's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" "The whole us thing," he clarified. "I know it's been a lot for you, but ignoring the situation is just making it worse." She sighed. "I told you already, this is ridiculous. I don't even remember what happened that night. One minute I was drinking and the next thing I know, I'm waking up to 1,000,000 rumors about us." Sebastian raised an eyebrow. "And you still don't remember?" Joy shook her head. "No. All I remember is that Emily was there, and you were nowhere near me." Sebastian's eyes narrowed. "Interesting." Joy blinked. "What does that mean?" Sebastian leaned forward slightly, his voice lowering. "I have my suspicions, Joy. I think you were set up." Joy sat up straight. "What? Set up? By who?" Sebastian paused for a second, glancing around before continuing. "Emily. She's the one who orchestrated this entire mess." Joy's mind raced. "But how? How could she have done this?" Sebastian sighed. "I think she took advantage of the situation. We got drunk, and the next morning, You were the one photographed with me, not her." Joy blinked. "Wait, you mean Sebastian cut her off?" "Yeah." She knew that by using that photo, she could manipulate everyone, including me. She wanted me to think you and I were involved so I'd feel guilty and back off. But it was all a setup. Joy's stomach turned. That's insane. Why didn't she just talk to you instead of trying to trap me in the process?" Sebastian shook his head. "Emily doesn't think logically. She's obsessed. She doesn't care who she hurts, as long as she gets what she wants." Joy let out a frustrated sigh. "So, now I have to deal with this, even though I had no part in it." Sebastian's eyes softened. "You didn't do anything wrong, Joy. But the media's perception is out of our hands." Joy ran a hand through her hair. "Great. So, now we just have to live with this until the next big thing comes along?" Sebastian stood up, pushing his hands into his pockets. "Actually, no. I have a plan." Joy raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Sebastian looked directly at her, his voice firm. "I'm going to take control of the narrative. And this time, Emily won't get to write it for us." Joy bit her lip. "How?" "I'm going to tell the truth." Sebastian's eyes gleamed with determination. It's time for Emily to face the consequences of her actions. The following afternoon, Joy sat nervously at her desk. She could feel the tension in the air. Sebastian was about to confront Emily, and she had no idea how this was going to play out. She heard footsteps approaching, and when she turned to look, she saw Sebastian walking into the break room, with Emily right behind him. Joy's stomach churned. She hadn't seen Emily since that night, and she wasn't sure what to expect. But the way Sebastian's jaw was set, she knew this wasn't going to be a polite conversation. Emily plastered a sweet smile on her face. "Sebastian. Just the man I've been looking for." Sebastian's tone was cold as he replied, "Emily, we need to talk." Emily's smile faltered. "Oh. About what?" "About the stunt you pulled," Sebastian said, his voice laced with frustration. "You set Joy up. You got her drunk, and you let the rumors fly. You wanted to force me into a position where I had no choice but to Emily cut him off. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb." Sebastian took a step closer. "I'm going public with the truth. I'm going to expose everything. You've made your move, now it's my turn." Emily's face twisted into an expression of outrage, but Sebastian wasn't finished. "And if you think you can get away with destroying Joy's reputation, you're sadly mistaken. I'll make sure everyone knows what really happened." There was a long, heavy silence. Joy could feel the tension in the air. Emily wasn't backing down, but neither was Sebastian. "Fine," Emily sneered, "but you'll regret this, Sebastian. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into." Sebastian stared her down. "I've already made up my mind." With that, Emily spun on her heel and stormed out of the room. Joy couldn't believe her ears. "Did you really just do that?" she asked, still in shock. Sebastian gave her a playful smirk. "Of course. You're worth the fight." The next few days were a whirlwind. Sebastian followed through on his word and went public, giving an interview about the whole situation. He explained the truth about the photos, about the setup, and how he had nothing to do with the scandal. The public's opinion of him and Joy shifted, with many supporting the couple after seeing how Sebastian stood by her. Emily, on the other hand, was forced to deal with the backlash. Her career took a hit as people began to question her character and methods, but through it all, Sebastian and Joy had something far more valuable than public approval. They had each other. Chapter 16. A week later. It had been a week since the explosive interview Sebastian gave about the scandal. What started as an uncomfortable media storm soon spiraled into a full-blown tornado. News outlets were calling it the corporate scandal of the year, with every detail of the night Sebastian and Joy were photographed together analyzed, dissected, and spun into new theories. Joy was sitting at her desk, her eyes glued to the screen. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard as she tried to type up a report, but all she could focus on was the constant ping of her phone. There were messages from her family, friends, colleagues, and even random acquaintances who had seen the interview. Her inbox was flooded with supporting messages from her team, but there were also a few nasty comments from people who still didn't understand the full situation. The media had framed her as the woman caught in the middle, and while most people sided with her, there were still some sour grapes in the mix. Just as she was about to respond to another message, her phone vibrated. She glanced at the screen and saw a message from Sebastian. "Meet me in the conference room at 2 p.m. We need to talk about the fallout." Joy felt a knot form in her stomach. The fallout. She knew what he meant. While their story had gained attention, not all of it was positive. Emily's team was pushing back, and Joy could feel the tension rising. By the time Joy walked into the conference room, Sebastian was already there, staring at the large screen mounted on the wall. He was watching news coverage of the interview, his eyes flicking over the headlines. "Sebastian and Joy, a couple in crisis?" Did Sebastian make the right move by exposing Emily? Joy caught in the middle of corporate warfare. The reporters were loving the drama, but the stories weren't as supportive as Sebastian had hoped. His reputation had taken a small hit, with many calling him impulsive and others claiming he had made a rash decision by going public so soon. As for Joy, well, the media loved her newfound mystique as the quiet woman who had been wronged. Some found it endearing, while others called her the prisoner of Sebastian's office drama. When Joy stepped in, Sebastian didn't turn around right away. He kept his eyes fixed on the screen, visibly irritated. "You're upset," Joy said softly. Sebastian rubbed his forehead. "Yeah, I am. I thought that by going public, the truth would speak for itself. But now, it feels like it's just turning into a media circus." "I know what you mean," Joy agreed, sitting down across from him. "It's like the more we try to explain ourselves, the more people twist the story. It feels overwhelming." Sebastian sighed deeply. "I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I didn't think it would be like this. Emily's team has launched a counterattack. They've been calling my clients, spreading rumors, even suggesting I'm not as trustworthy as I seem." Joy bit her lip. "What's the plan now?" Sebastian's gaze softened, and he leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "We need to turn this around. I'll keep doing interviews, setting the record straight. But you need to start owning your narrative, too. You can't just stay quiet anymore." Joy frowned. "I don't know if I'm ready for that. The whole world knows about my personal life now." Sebastian leaned forward, his eyes earnest. "You don't have to share everything, but it's important you stand up for yourself. The world is watching. People respect authenticity. If you let them see the real you, they'll support you, and the media will have no choice but to back off." Joy stared at him, absorbing his words. Sebastian had always been so confident in the face of adversity. But now, she saw a different side of him, a side that was vulnerable and even uncertain. The idea of owning her story was daunting, but maybe he was right. She couldn't let the situation control her anymore. While Sebastian and Joy were trying to figure out their next steps, Emily wasn't sitting idly by. She had taken a more underhanded approach, trying to sway public opinion by portraying herself as the wronged party. She released a statement to the media, claiming that she had been unfairly portrayed. She painted herself as the victim in the whole situation, the one who had been manipulated by both Sebastian and Joy. She even had the audacity to say that she had never intended to break up Joy and Sebastian, but had been trying to help Sebastian get his life together. Emily made it seem as if she had been misunderstood all along. Emily's statement: "While I respect Sebastian's decision to handle things publicly, I don't believe the truth is being fully represented. I have always had his best interests at heart, and my involvement with him has been professional. It's unfortunate that others are trying to make me the villain in this story." Emily's statement only served to fuel the fire, and now, Joy found herself at the center of another media frenzy. This time, however, the story was different. The public wasn't so willing to fall for Emily's sob story. They were starting to see the cracks in her carefully constructed image. Sebastian, still reeling from the backlash, knew that he needed to act fast. If they didn't take control of the situation, it could spiral out of hand. He called a meeting with his PR team, along with Joy, to strategize. "We're going to do a press conference," Sebastian said, pacing the room. "We'll take control of the narrative and put the truth out there. No more hiding behind media statements. We need to show the world that we're in charge of this situation." Joy glanced at him nervously. "Do you think that will work? The last press event didn't go so well." "We're going to do it differently," Sebastian replied confidently. "This time, we'll show them we're not backing down. I'll be there with you, and we'll clear the air once and for all." The day of the press conference arrived, and it was a whirlwind. Sebastian had already prepared his statement, but it was the dynamic between him and Joy that would make or break the event. Joy stood by his side, her nerves creeping up on her, but Sebastian's steady presence calmed her. They walked up to the podium together, the crowd of reporters eager for answers. "Good afternoon, everyone," Sebastian began, his voice firm. "Today, we're here to set the record straight." He paused and glanced at Joy. "We've been the target of some false accusations in the media, and we want to clarify the situation. Joy and I are not involved in any scandal. The photos that circulated were the result of a setup, and we are both here to tell you the truth." As the press conference continued, Joy could feel the weight lifting off her shoulders. Sebastian's words were direct, but he also made sure to acknowledge her and her feelings. Together, they were showing the world that they weren't afraid to take control of their own story. The fallout from the scandal wasn't over, but it was starting to shift. People were starting to root for Joy and Sebastian, and Emily's hold on the situation was slipping. The world was starting to realize that, despite everything, Sebastian and Joy were in this together. Chapter 17. The press conference had been a turning point. Sebastian and Joy had faced the media, stood their ground, and presented a united front. It was a huge relief, but as they walked out of the conference room, the tension between them hadn't fully dissipated. The media frenzy had died down for the moment, but it wasn't over yet. Sebastian sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm glad that's over." That felt oddly cathartic. Joy smiled faintly, though the weight of everything still hung over her. "I'm proud of us. But I know we're not out of the woods yet." Sebastian nodded in agreement, giving her a side eye. "True. You know, I half expected Emily to show up at the press conference, making some dramatic entrance with a sad face, claiming she was heartbroken." Joy chuckled at the thought. "She's probably plotting her next move as we speak." "Well," Sebastian said, smirking, "she'll have to work a little harder this time. We've already taken the first swing, and I'm not about to back down now." Joy laughed, relieved that Sebastian was still in his confident, slightly cocky element. "I have to admit, I've never seen you like this before. You're usually more reserved." "Well, being a business mogul requires a lot of strategy," Sebastian replied with a wink. "But I've learned that sometimes you just need to throw a punch and deal with the consequences later." Joy raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that a bit reckless?" Sebastian grinned. "Maybe. But I'm starting to think it's one of my more charming qualities." Back at the office, things were still tense. The PR department had been working overtime to keep the media at bay, while Joy and Sebastian continued to focus on the day-to-day business. But everyone could feel the shift. There was a new sense of unity among the team, and Joy's position had become more solidified in the company. In the days following the press conference, Sebastian's employees started to show more respect toward Joy, especially after seeing her stand her ground in front of the world. It wasn't just about the media, it was the realization that Joy had been quietly carrying the weight of the office on her shoulders all along. Sebastian walked into her office one afternoon, holding a stack of files. He dropped them on her desk with a grin. "Okay, I'm starting to think you're not just good at answering emails and looking pretty behind a desk." Joy looked up from her laptop and gave him a wry smile. "Glad to know you've finally noticed." "I'm serious, Joy. I've been thinking about the way the office works, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be officially promoted. I want you to run the operations team. You've earned it." Joy blinked, momentarily taken aback. "What? Are you serious?" "Totally serious," Sebastian said, leaning against the doorframe, his arms crossed. "I've seen the way you've been handling things, and frankly, I've been slacking off letting you do it all." Joy hesitated. "You know I didn't do it for a promotion. But I'll consider it. If that's what you want." Sebastian smirked. "It's not just about what I want. It's about what you deserve. Own it, Joy." As the days passed, it became increasingly clear that Emily's plan had backfired. While she had hoped to use Sebastian's vulnerability to trap him into a public relationship, Things were not going according to her script. The media circus that followed her statements only seemed to strengthen Sebastian and Joy's bond. The more Emily tried to paint herself as the victim, the more her reputation began to crack. People were starting to see through her carefully constructed facade. However, Emily wasn't ready to back down just yet. She still had a few tricks up her sleeve. One evening, Sebastian received an unexpected call from Emily. Sebastian, Emily's voice oozed sweetness. "I think we should have a talk." Sebastian frowned. "Emily, we've already talked. Several times. It's over. Whatever you were hoping to accomplish with those photos, it didn't work." Emily's voice dropped, and she suddenly sounded more vulnerable. "I never wanted things to end like this. I've always cared about you, you know. It's not just business for me. I thought we could have something more." Sebastian's expression softened, but only for a moment. He leaned back in his chair, clearly tired of the same old games. "You've always cared about one thing, Emily, yourself. You've been using me, and now you're trying to play the victim. It's not going to work. Not anymore. Are you really this cold?" Emily shot back, her tone icy. Sebastian gave a dry chuckle. "I'm not cold, Emily. I'm just done with your games." He hung up the phone, his frustration bubbling over. Emily had finally pushed him too far, and he had made his stance clear. But as he put the phone down, he couldn't help but feel a small pang of regret. There was a part of him that had genuinely cared about Emily, but it was buried beneath all the manipulation and deceit. The next day, Sebastian found himself pacing around the office, still agitated from the call. His mind kept replaying the conversation, the sharp words Emily had thrown at him. It bothered him more than he cared to admit. Just then, Joy stepped into his office, her arms full of documents. She paused as she saw his tense posture. "What's going on?" she asked gently, her eyes soft with concern. Sebastian sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Emily called. She's still trying to guilt-trip me into playing nice." Joy set the papers down and walked over to him. "You've got this. You've made it clear where you stand." "I don't know, Joy. It just feels like this whole situation is never going to end." Joy smiled and gave him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "It will. But we'll face it together, right?" Sebastian turned to face her, a grateful expression on his face. For the first time in a while, he felt lighter, as if the weight of the world wasn't on his shoulders alone. Chapter 18. After the emotional turmoil of the past few days, Sebastian decided that a break was in order. He needed to clear his mind, to step away from the office madness, and for once, let Joy handle things. "You know, Joy," Sebastian said, as he glanced at her with a mischievous grin. "You've done so much lately, I think it's time I take you out for a little treat. A day off. Maybe we'll even get some fresh air." Joy raised an eyebrow. "A day off? You? After all that has happened, I'm not sure you even know what that is." Sebastian chuckled, ignoring the jab. "I'm serious. You deserve it. Besides, you've become the queen of the office. If I don't show you some appreciation, I'll risk a revolt from the entire staff." Joy crossed her arms with a playful smirk. "I see through your plan. You just want an excuse to have me make all the decisions while you sit back and relax." Sebastian threw his hands up dramatically. "Guilty as charged. But you're good at it." Joy rolled her eyes but couldn't help the small smile tugging at her lips. "All right, fine. A day off it is. But no work talk. If I hear one word about the company, I'm walking straight out of there and leaving you to deal with the aftermath." Sebastian's grin widened. "Deal. But I make no promises about behaving myself." The pair left the office, and for a brief moment, the outside world felt like a reprieve from the chaos of the office and the media. They decided to go to a park nearby, where they could enjoy some quiet time without constant interruptions. Sebastian and Joy spent the afternoon walking through the park, the occasional awkward silence falling between them as they took in the sights. Joy noticed that, for the first time in a long while, Sebastian wasn't attentively checking his phone or running off to handle an emergency. But then came a curveball. As they stopped by a small cafe in the park to grab some iced coffee, a familiar voice interrupted their easy chatter. Well, look who it is." the famous Sebastian Hunt and his latest charming assistant. Joy tensed. She recognized the voice immediately. It was Emily. She had a way of slipping into places like she owned them. Emily walked up with a slow, deliberate stride, her heels clicking on the pavement. She was dressed to the nines, as always, her hair perfectly styled and her eyes locked onto Sebastian. Her smile was as sharp as ever, almost like a challenge. Didn't realize you were taking a break from all the drama, Emily continued, her gaze flicking briefly to Joy before returning to Sebastian. Though, I suppose you've earned it, after all those nasty rumors. Care for some company? Sebastian's face shifted into a mask of indifference, though Joy could feel the undercurrent of tension between the two women. She immediately stepped in, her voice laced with sarcasm. Well, isn't this a surprise? The actress extraordinaire, here to grace us with her presence. Emily smirked. I'm sure you're still in shock, Joy, after everything that's happened. But you should know, I'm not someone who gives up easily. Sebastian and I have some unresolved business. Joy gave a tight smile. Oh, I'm sure you do. But we're on a break. So, how about you try calling him later when we're not trying to enjoy a peaceful moment? Sebastian glanced between the two women, unsure whether he was more annoyed by Emily's presence or impressed by Joy's sharp retort. He had never seen her this sassy before, and there was something oddly refreshing about it. I think Joy's right, Sebastian said, his tone more commanding than he intended. This is neither the time nor the place. I've made my position clear, Emily. You're wasting your time. Emily's lips curled into a tight smile. Oh, I'm not the one wasting time, Sebastian. You're the one who's blind to what's right in front of you. Without waiting for a response, Emily turned on her heel and walked off, her high heels tapping sharply on the pavement. Sebastian exhaled slowly, turning to Joy. Well, that was a pleasant interruption, he said dryly. Joy shook her head, a slight grin creeping onto her face. You don't have to take that from her, you know. I know, he muttered. But I wanted to make sure I did it the right way. Joy raised an eyebrow. The right way? Is there even such a thing when it comes to Emily? Good point, Sebastian admitted. I'll have to figure that out later. Over the next few days, Emily ramped up her efforts, taking to social media and spreading misleading stories about Sebastian's supposed relationship with her. She even used her public platform to claim that she was personally hurt by the allegations, but Sebastian and Joy were ready. The new PR team had already crafted a response, and this time, they weren't playing around. Joy took the lead in crafting a statement, her mind sharp as ever. It's time we put this to bed once and for all, she said, typing away furiously on her laptop. We need something stronger, something that makes them realize we're not afraid to stand up for the truth. Sebastian watched from his office, a small smile on his lips. Joy's growth was undeniable. She was no longer the quiet assistant who did everything he said. She had become a force of her own, someone with wit, intelligence, and a sharp sense of justice. As they finalized the press statement, a sense of unity washed over them. The more they worked together, the more they realized how much they truly depended on each other. Chapter 19. Sebastian leaned back in his chair, watching Joy type furiously on her laptop. She was completely in the zone, eyebrows furrowed in concentration as she drafted a press statement to finally shut down Emily's lies. You type like you're trying to break the keyboard, he commented, taking a sip of his coffee. Joy barely spared him a glance. I'd break Emily's face if I could, but since that's illegal, I'll settle for destroying her publicly. Sebastian smirked. That's my PA, ruthless but law-abiding. Joy shot him a side eye. You're awfully calm for someone whose reputation is being dragged through the mud by a crazy actress. Sebastian shrugged. Because I trust you to handle it. Joy paused, caught off guard. She had been fighting this battle for him, but hearing him say he actually trusted her made her chest tighten. You trust me? She asked, her voice quieter. Sebastian nodded without hesitation. Always have. Joy quickly looked back at her laptop, suddenly too flustered to maintain eye contact. What the hell was that? She cleared her throat. Well, good. Because this press release is about to end Emily's career. Sebastian grinned. I love it when you talk about corporate destruction. A few hours later, Joy and the PR team released the official statement, backed by legal threats. The statement made it clear Sebastian was never in a relationship with Emily. The photos Emily spread were fabricated and taken without his consent. The company would press charges if she continued spreading false rumors. As soon as the statement went public, social media exploded. Speech balloon. Wait, so Emily lied about dating Sebastian. Speech balloon. She really tried to blackmail a CEO into a relationship. That's insane. Speech balloon. Joy's a real one. She's been cleaning up his mess while looking stunning. Speech balloon. Emily is finished. Bye, girl. Joy watched the comments roll in with deep satisfaction. Ah, the sweet, sweet sound of public outrage. Sebastian smirked. You sound way too happy about this. Oh, I am. She leaned back in her chair, stretching. Do you know how much stress this woman has put me through? If karma won't handle her, I will. Just then, Sebastian's phone rang. It was his lawyer. Emily's team just contacted us, the lawyer said. She's begging for us to retract the statement. She wants to settle this privately. Sebastian raised an eyebrow. And what do you suggest? Tell her to enjoy her lawsuit. Sebastian grinned. Good. Do it. Joy watched him hang up with pure joy. Oh, that was beautiful. Say it again. Sebastian chuckled. I told them to sue Emily. Joy clutched her chest. Amazing. 10/10. Best day of my life. Emily wasn't taking her public downfall well. The next day, she stormed into Sebastian's office unannounced, her face red with fury. You had no right to do this to me, she shrieked. Sebastian didn't even look up from his paperwork. Oh, I had every right. Emily slammed her hands on his desk. You ruined me. Joy, who was standing nearby, took a sip of her coffee. Didn't you ruin yourself? Emily turned her glare to Joy. This is your fault. You're the one who's been poisoning him against me. Joy gasped dramatically. Oh no, you caught me. It was all me. Sebastian is just my helpless puppet, completely unable to make his own choices. Sebastian finally looked up, his voice sharp. Enough, Emily. You're embarrassing yourself. Emily flinched at his cold tone. You tried to manipulate me. You tried to ruin Joy's life. And you thought you could force me into a relationship. He leaned forward, his voice like ice. I was never interested in you. Not in this life, and definitely not in the last. Emily's breath hitched, and for the first time, she looked afraid. Sebastian continued, his voice unwavering. Get out. Before I have security throw you out. Emily opened her mouth but quickly shut it. She knew there was nothing left to say. She had lost. With a sharp glare at Joy, she stormed out. Joy sighed. Wow. That was satisfying. Sebastian smirked. Took long enough. That night, Joy and Sebastian went out for drinks with some of their close colleagues to celebrate. The tension of the past weeks had finally lifted, and the energy was lighter. At some point, Joy found herself at the bar, sipping a cocktail when Sebastian slid in beside her. You did good today, he said. Joy grinned. Of course, I did. I'm awesome. Sebastian chuckled. That you are. There was a beat of silence, then Joy smirked. So, now that Emily's out of the way, should I start calling you boyfriend now or wait for you to confess dramatically? Sebastian choked on his drink. Excuse me? Joy grinned. Oh, don't play dumb. You've liked me for years. Sebastian narrowed his eyes. Says who? Says your face, your actions, and the way you stare at me when you think I'm not looking. Sebastian scoffed. I do not. Joy pulled out her phone and showed him a candid photo someone took at the office. Sebastian was looking at her with the most obvious heart eyes she had ever seen, his face turned red. That could be anyone. Joy laughed. You're so cute when you're flustered. Sebastian groaned. I hate you. No, you don't. He sighed dramatically. Fine. Maybe I like you a little. Joy leaned in. You like me a lot. Sebastian smirked. And what if I do? Joy grinned. Then I might just like you back. Sebastian's eyes softened, and for the first time in a long time, everything felt right. Joy raised her glass. To new beginnings. Sebastian clinked his glass against hers. To us. Chapter 20. By Monday morning, Joy Joy walked into the office as usual, only to be met with absolute chaos. People were whispering in hushed voices, some were staring at her, and a few of her co-workers were looking at their phones with shocked expressions. Her internal alarm bells went off. What the hell happened? She was about to head to her desk when her closest work friend, Lily, came sprinting towards her like she had just witnessed a crime. Joy, explain. Right now. Joy blinked. Good morning. Lily held up her phone, and Joy froze. That on the screen was a photo of her and Sebastian at the bar, clinking glasses, looking way too cozy. The headline: Explosion Symbols CEO Sebastian and his PA? Are they more than just work partners? Explosion symbol. Joy immediately turned around to walk out of the building. Nope. I quit. Lily grabbed her. Absolutely not. Explain. Joy groaned. Who even took this photo? Were they hiding in the walls? Lily smirked. Girl, forget that. Is it true? Are you two a thing? Because I have money in the office betting pool. Joy gaped. There's a betting pool? Lily nodded. Obviously. You think we're blind? The tension was unbearable. Joy face-palmed. I hate all of you. Before Lily could harass her further, a familiar voice interrupted them. Joy. She turned to see Sebastian standing there, looking way too amused at the situation. Boss. Lily greeted, before whispering to Joy, he looks ridiculously hot today. Don't let him escape. Then she ran off like a nosy goblin. Joy sighed. Sebastian, have you seen this mess? Sebastian nodded. Yeah. I had to shut down 3 congratulatory emails from board members. Joy groaned. This is a nightmare. Sebastian smirked. Or it's the universe telling us to make it official. Joy blinked. Excuse me? Sebastian leaned in slightly, his voice teasing. You've already ruined my reputation. Might as well take responsibility. Joy rolled her eyes. Oh, you're loving this, aren't you? Sebastian chuckled. A little bit. A few hours later, Joy was going through her emails when Sebastian's assistant, Kyle, knocked on her desk. Hey, so the media is demanding a response to the dating rumors, he said. What should we say? Joy froze. Tell them no comment. That should be enough, right? Kyle hesitated. Well, the official company social media account just posted this. He handed her his phone. Joy's eyes widened in horror. Loudspeaker company statement. We wish CEO Sebastian all the best in his new romantic journey. Please respect his privacy. Joy slammed her head on her desk. Oh my God. Sebastian strolled in, completely unbothered. Sebastian, Joy hissed. You let them post this? He smirked. I may have suggested it. Joy threw a stapler at him. You absolute menace. Sebastian caught it easily, still grinning. I'm just saying, he said, if everyone already thinks we're dating, why fight it? Joy crossed her arms. I refuse to be soft-launched like this. Sebastian chuckled. Fine. How about an official announcement dinner? Joy squinted at him. Are you asking me on a date? Sebastian leaned on her desk. Depends. Are you saying yes? Joy sighed dramatically. Fine. But you're paying. Sebastian smirked. Obviously. Kyle, who was still standing there, awkwardly cleared his throat. Should I tell the media anything? Joy and Sebastian looked at each other. Sebastian smirked. Tell them, no comment. But stay tuned. Kyle groaned. You two are so dramatic. Joy laughed. You have no idea. That evening, Sebastian took Joy to an expensive rooftop restaurant. The kind where the wine menu was in another language and the chairs probably cost more than Joy's rent. She raised an eyebrow. So, this is what being rich looks like. Sebastian chuckled. Welcome to the dark side. As they ate, Joy suddenly said, so, when did you start liking me? Sebastian smirked. You first. Joy scoffed. No way. I asked first. Sebastian leaned back. Fine. Maybe, years ago. Joy nearly choked. Years. Sebastian shrugged. You never noticed. Joy gaped. Excuse me? You were pining in silence for years. Sebastian smirked. Says the woman who also liked me but pretended not to. Joy scowled. Touché. Sebastian chuckled, reaching across the table to take her hand. Point is, we're here now. Joy smiled. Yeah, we are. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was Lily. Speech balloon. Lily, did you just go public? I need to collect my bet money. Joy sighed. I hate my co-workers. Sebastian grinned. You love them. Joy smirked. Not as much as I love messing with you. Sebastian leaned in, his voice soft. Yeah. Well, good thing I love you back. Joy froze. Wait. That was, Sebastian smirked. A confession? Joy blinked. Oh my god, you're so unfair. Sebastian chuckled. Your turn. Joy huffed. Fine. I love you too. Happy. Sebastian grinned. Very. Chapter 21. Joy walked into work the next day, fully expecting things to calm down now that the rumors were out in the open. She was wrong, very, very wrong. Instead of whispers and stolen glances, her entire department turned their heads to look at her at the same time. Joy froze. Good morning. Lily sprinted toward her, dragging her to a corner like a secret agent on a mission. Joy. I have so many questions. Joy sighed. Lily, please. Lily ignored her. First of all, I told you so. Secondly, how long have you been dating? Thirdly, do I still have a job? Fourthly, is he good at kissing? Joy choked. What? Lily smirked. I just need details for my research. Joy glared. Lily, get help. Lily winked. You refusing to answer is an answer. Before Joy could strangle her, a deep, familiar voice interrupted Joy. She turned and saw Sebastian standing there, looking annoyingly good as usual. Lily gasped. Oop, gotta go. And then she vanished into the office like a gremlin. Joy sighed. Morning, boss. Sebastian smirked. Morning, girlfriend. Joy rolled her eyes. You're loving this, aren't you? Sebastian leaned in. Absolutely. Unfortunately, not everyone was thrilled about their relationship. Emily stormed into Sebastian's office that afternoon, dramatic as always. I can't believe you did this to Emmy, she shrieked. Sebastian didn't even look up from his laptop. Emily, I'm working. Emily huffed. I don't care. How could you choose her over me? Sebastian sighed. Emily, I was never interested in you. Emily crossed her arms. That's not what the pictures say. Sebastian finally looked at her. Oh, you mean the ones you set up? Emily froze. Sebastian leaned back in his chair, looking completely unbothered. You really thought I wouldn't find out? Emily's face turned red. Sebastian smirked. Security will escort you out. Don't come back. Emily screamed in frustration, stomped her foot like a 5-year-old, and then stormed out. Joy popped her head into his office. That went well. Sebastian chuckled. Want to go celebrate? Joy grinned. Obviously. Chapter 22. Joy wasn't nervous about a lot of things, but meeting Sebastian's mother was on a whole different level. Sebastian, she hissed as they walked into the ridiculously fancy mansion. What if she hates me? Sebastian smirked. She won't. Joy narrowed her eyes. How do you know? Sebastian shrugged. Because you're too stubborn to let her hate you. Joy opened her mouth to argue, but then my son, Sebastian's mother, a beautiful and terrifying woman, sprinted toward them. Mom, please, Sebastian started, but she ignored him completely. Instead, she grabbed Joy's hands and gasped. You're so pretty, she gushed. And you have actual emotions. Do you know how long I've waited for my son to date a woman who isn't a robot? Joy blinked. Sebastian sighed. Mom, his mother grabbed Joy's shoulders. Please marry him. Joy choked on air. What? Sebastian groaned. Mom, we just started dating. His mother waved him off. Details. Unimportant. The wedding will be in spring. Joy turned to Sebastian. Is she serious? Sebastian smirked. You'll get used to it. Joy sighed. I'm so afraid. His mother grinned. Good. That means you're already part of the family. A few months later, they were on a vacation when Sebastian did something insanely suspicious. He set up a fancy dinner on the beach. Joy squinted at him. Sebastian. Sebastian smirked. Yes, do? Joy pointed at the romantic setup. Is this a proposal? Sebastian chuckled. No. I know better than to rush you. Joy exhaled in relief. Good. Because if you did, I'd. Sebastian pulled out a small box. Joy froze. Sebastian smirked. Relax. It's just a matching ring. Joy narrowed her eyes. You like messing with me, don't you? Sebastian grinned. Every day. Joy sighed, but she was smiling. Fine. Give me the ring. Sebastian slipped it onto her finger. Perfect, he said softly. Just like you. Joy stared at him. That was so unfairly smooth. Sebastian chuckled. You love it. Joy huffed. Maybe. Sebastian pulled her into a hug. Good. They stood there, with the ocean waves behind them, and for once, everything felt perfect. Joy smirked. You know, I still haven't officially said yes to dating you. Sebastian laughed. Too late, Joy. You're stuck with me now. Joy sighed dramatically. Well, I suppose I can live with that. And with that, their chaotic, hilarious, and ridiculous love story officially began. Bonus epilogue. The wedding. Lily stood at the entrance of the wedding venue, holding a very large sign that read, I called it first. Joy sighed. Lily, why? Lily grinned. Because I was right. And I have to make sure the whole world knows it. Sebastian glanced at the sign. Honestly, I respect the dedication. Joy rolled her eyes. You're just encouraging her. Lily winked. I know. I'm thriving. Joy considered throwing Lily into the wedding cake, but before she could, her mother-in-law arrived. Sebastian's mother grabbed Joy's hands dramatically. My dear daughter-in-law, are you ready? Joy smiled. As ready as I can be. Sebastian's mother nodded approvingly. Good. If you had said no, I would have kidnapped you and forced you to marry him anyway. Joy choked. Excuse me, Sebastian sighed. Mom, please stop scaring my wife. His mother patted his cheek. Sure, son. Go be handsome somewhere else. Sebastian groaned. I'm regretting inviting you. His mother ignored him. Now, Joy, remember the rules I set for this wedding. Joy sighed. No running away, no pushing the groom into the cake, and no dramatic anime-style wedding crashes. His mother clapped. Excellent. You may proceed. Joy was terrified. Sebastian smiled down at Joy as they stood at the altar. You look beautiful. Joy smirked. I know. Sebastian chuckled. Are you ready to make this official? Joy took a deep breath. Okay. Here goes. My vows. The guests leaned in expectantly. Joy cleared her throat. Sebastian, when I first met you, I thought you were a cold, heartless, overly serious boss who never smiled. Sebastian raised an eyebrow. Romantic start. Joy continued, but then I realized, you are all of those things. The crowd gasped. Lily wheezed in the background. Sebastian sighed. I walked right into this, didn't I? Joy grinned. Yes. But here's the thing, I love you anyway. Even when you're a grumpy workaholic, even when you're too handsome for your own good, and even when you steal my coffee. Sebastian smirked. I'll steal it forever, you know. Joy sighed. I know. And I'll love you anyway. The crowd cheered. Sebastian smirked. Well, since I'm so romantic, I guess I should say my vows now. Joy grinned. Go for it, boss. Sebastian took her hands. Joy, I knew you were trouble the moment you walked into my office. Lily screamed. Taylor Swift reference. Sebastian ignored her. But despite your terrible influence, your chaotic energy, and your horrific coffee addiction, I fell for you. Joy blinked. Wait, horrific? Sebastian continued. I'll love you even when you make me watch shameless romance dramas, even when you drag me to karaoke nights, and even when you talk in your sleep about food. Joy turned red. What? Sebastian smirked. I have proof. The guests laughed. Sebastian leaned in. So, will you marry me, troublemaker? Joy sighed dramatically. I guess I have no choice. Sebastian grinned. Good answer. The moment the priest said, you may kiss the bride, everything fell apart. Point 1. Lily threw confetti directly at Sebastian's face. Point 2. Joy's mother started crying loudly. Point 3. Sebastian's cousin fainted from the emotional stress. Point 4. The flower girl started a food fight. Point 5. The wedding cake caught on fire. Joy turned to Sebastian. This is our wedding. Sebastian nodded. It's perfect. Joy sighed. We need new friends. Sebastian smirked. No. This is exactly the kind of wedding we deserved. Joy laughed. I hate that you're right. Sebastian pulled her into a kiss. You love it. Joy grinned. Yeah, I do. And just like that, their perfectly chaotic love story continued.
Sebastian's POV. Behind the scenes, I first noticed her because she was the only one in the office who didn't look terrified of me. It was honestly a little weird. Everyone else practically bowed when I entered the room, and there she was, sitting at her desk with a coffee cup, not even flinching when I walked by. I remember thinking, who is this woman? She was quiet, sure, but there was something about the way she held herself, like she had no problem with who she was. That was new. I couldn't help but be intrigued. I still have no idea why she drinks so much coffee. It's like her blood type is just espresso. But the thing is, after a while, it became part of her charm. The way she mourned every coffee spill was almost tragic. And when she made those strange little comments about needing coffee to survive this hellhole of a job, I thought it was just her being dramatic. But then I started to realize that she was sort of right. At first, I'd keep my distance, not wanting to get involved in what I assumed was just a small personal quirk. But then one day, she walked into my office, completely unannounced, handed me a cup of coffee, and said, "You need this." I almost couldn't help but laugh. You can't just assume I need coffee, you know. She shrugged. I'm pretty sure you do. And I'm really good at making it. I knew she was right about both things. I was hooked. The office drama started with something ridiculous. Of course, I had a meeting with the finance department, and Joy, being as unfiltered as ever, had to interrupt me. And it wasn't just a quick interruption. No. She stormed in with a stack of papers, clearly unimpressed with my decision to have the meeting on a Monday morning. Why Monday? She asked, frowning. Why not Tuesday when no one's already in a bad mood? I could hear the people in the meeting stifling their laughs. I didn't even stop to think. I just leaned back in my chair and said, Joy, you've just officially added mood manager to your job description. She smiled, so smugly, as though she'd won some victory. And, of course, she had. She always did. I hated how much I liked it, but nothing compared to the moment I realized I might have been in trouble. I woke up that morning after the party with a headache, as expected, but what I didn't expect was a message from the gossip columnist, detailing how I was apparently caught with Joy at some after party I didn't even remember attending. Joy was drunk, I was drunk, and from the looks of the photos, we looked very close. For a split second, my heart stopped. If this had happened in my past life, it would have been the perfect moment for Emily to swoop in, post the photos everywhere, and turn it into an official relationship. But instead, it was just Joy and me. I was furious, yes, but it wasn't at Joy. It was at myself. I'd lost control. How had we even gotten to that point? Then it hit me. I was actually relieved. Sure, I was annoyed by the whole mess, but deep down, I was glad it was Joy in those pictures. Not Emily. Not anyone else. I didn't want to admit it then, but I had a very stupid thought. Maybe this was my chance to tell Joy how I really felt, but then I couldn't because I still didn't know how I felt. I just knew it was different than anything I had with anyone else. There's a lot I could say about Joy, but I think the most important thing is her laugh. It's the kind of laugh that sticks with you long after it's gone. The moment she laughs, the room feels lighter, and I feel like the air has changed. I can still hear it now. That warm, genuine laugh, like she's genuinely happy. And I'll be honest, it feels like it was something I was missing from my life before. Something I didn't even know I needed. And then there's the way she can always tell when I'm trying to hold in a smile. She always catches me. She's a force of nature, this woman. And somewhere in all the chaos, I started to realize I didn't just tolerate her, I wanted her around. It wasn't until she was about to walk out of the office one night, after a long stretch of ridiculous hours, when she turned back and said, "I need you to promise me something, Sebastian." I stopped dead in my tracks. "What?" I asked, my voice lower than usual. "Promise me you'll stop working yourself to death, okay? You've been so focused on this company that you're burning yourself out. It's not healthy." I had no idea how to respond, but I couldn't help myself. I walked over to her, my hand brushing against hers just as I passed by. The contact was electric. I couldn't let go of her hand, though I had every intention of pulling away the second I felt something weird in my chest, but I didn't. I held on, and for the first time, I knew something for sure. I wasn't just interested in having her around as a PA. I was falling for her. It was terrifying. I had planned it in my head, over and over again. I had rehearsed how I'd confess. How I'd finally put my feelings into words, but every time I opened my mouth, the words seemed to freeze. Instead, I ended up just standing there, hoping she'd somehow figure it out. It wasn't until she turned and smiled at me that I finally did it. "Joy," I began, completely wrecked by how nervous I felt. "I've been an idiot. I've been too busy being the serious boss to notice how incredible you are. How much you've changed me, without even trying." Her eyes softened, and I could tell she knew what I was about to say, and then I did it. I told her, "I love you, Joy." And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. Bonus fun facts: Lily caught the bouquet and screamed for 2 minutes straight. Sebastian's mother immediately started planning for grandkids. Joy still refuses to admit she talks about food in her sleep. They went on their honeymoon and immediately got lost, and they lived, fought, and loved happily ever after.